in town. We're going to go pick tulips from the Tulip Center. There's going to be like 2 midweek games. You're like, nah, I can't go. I got to pick up dinner. And then there's like 2 weekend games. You're like, no, I can't go. Aaron's friend's in town.
How about the last game of the year?
Senior night.
San Diego State versus Nevada, 7:30 Saturday night.
You're okay? Are you going to go?
Yeah, March 8th.
All right, we'll remind you.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is Hour 1, Jon and Jim, here until 6, getting you ready for big weekend ahead. Aztecs playing. We're getting closer to spring training, and we do have tickets to give away to see Creed that we'll do in the 4 o'clock hour. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Insider, will join us in the 5 o'clock hour. Chris Hodge has been red hot with his picks. He was again last week. He'll join us in the 4 o'clock hour, but we start with some good news finally. I do think it is good news as the Padres do avoid arbitration. They've never gone to arbitration, as we've talked about, with the player under AJ Preller. Michael King gets his 1-year deal. Yes, there's a mutual option, but that's a big asterisk because that never applies in Major League Baseball. So I think the good, Jim, is that Michael King is likely to be back in 2025. Not a guarantee, but likely to be back in 2025. The bad news is he could absolutely be spending his final year in a Padres uniform in 2025 because this is not a long-term deal, but they avoid arbitration. Michael King was a big piece of 2024, and I would expect him to be a pretty important piece in 2025 as well.
So is the whole thing is a Preller special?
Right.
This is not as simple as agreeing to a number. It is a lot of different parts to get to the number, which is 7.75, right?
Yep.
First up, they're giving him a $3 million signing bonus right up front.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're making his salary for the 2025 season $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a bonus, or there's escalators in that deal that will get him to 7.75, and then he has like an opt out of $4 million or whatever it is, right?
No, I'm so once
freaking
he opts
confused.
out, because he's not going to. Once he opts out, he gets another 3.75.
Okay.
That's where the $3 million signing plus $1 million salary is for.
Okay.
Plus 3.75. That guarantees him 7.75. So the second he opts out, he's at 7.75. There's another $250,000 he can earn based on starts.
Okay.
That could get him to 8. So he's either earning as little as 7.75 over the next calendar year, or he's earning as much as 8 over the next calendar year.
Okay.
Which is more than what the Padres offered in arbitration, but less than what he was asking for, which was 8.8.
Okay.
They offered 7.3. He wanted 8.8. They've met at 7.75 plus escalators. You brought up the numbers. You brought up it's a $7.75 million 1-year deal. They've met in the middle. It gives the Padres a little bit more payroll flexibility because they don't have to write all those checks immediately. Mm-hmm. And I think it basically assures that he'll be here, because why would you trade a player that's going to make 30 starts for you that makes $7 million? That's a true bargain.
I agree that the getting this done today before FanFest was a must.
Yeah.
He's not scheduled to speak tomorrow. Maybe that changes.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's not scheduled, and he's not on the media list.
Maybe that does make sense because of the arbitration case until right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe he does get added to that. It's pretty simple. He's going to be there. He's in San Diego. They're all around town right now, and they had a big dinner last night.
He was at Viejas the other night.
But this was had to get it done, because the last thing Preller wanted to do was go to arbitration for the first time as a general manager. There's the potential to get messy is there. The potential to burn a couple bridges is there. And it's just, you don't want to get to that point ever. What I do think, though, is you keep the good faith now between King and the Padres for hopefully, I'm knocking on wood, for something to maybe get done as far as an extension goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about this too. Maybe, and I know we heard from King on the Corey Kluber podcast talking about his arbitration number and how they weren't close, and he had a number and the Padres had a number and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Do you think at all this was a hey, I'm playing chess while you're playing checkers move from Preller knowing that he would have to get creative with the money. And so because of that, he held off, meeting King in the middle at a set number for the 2025 season so he could end up creating this type of deal to get something done?
Yeah, potentially. I think that's fair. I think that is a possibility. I think, to your point, the reason why you had to meet, here's my theory on why you had to meet and could not go to arbitration. Forget about Preller's streak. You had to meet because you had to leave the olive branch for an extension, to your point. If you didn't meet, there's no olive branch and there's going to be no possible extension. There's no way you go to arbitration and then this player agrees on some extension with you. Now, by meeting in the middle, maybe that'll bring the sides back together. I still see it as extremely unlikely, Jim. To your point, for the last handful of days or weeks or months, they don't have money. We'll get into the reasons as to where they are with this CBT number. They're going to have to shed real money to keep Michael King long term. I mean, what's even a bargain deal on Michael King long term? 20, 25 million a year?
Yeah, I don't know.
So let's just say 20. That's a low number. Just throw it out. 20 is a huge bump in AAV for the Padres and for Michael King overall. So again, I think it leaves open the possibility, hey, we trade off Dylan Cease, we move Robert Suarez, we free up some money. Maybe we will commit to you long term. You had to meet in the middle because otherwise, how are you going to come to terms with his agent and get back to the table at some point in 2024 or 2025? I don't think it's likely. I do not think an extension is likely. I also think it's very unlikely that he's traded. I think he spends 2025 in San Diego, and unfortunately, that could be his final year as a Padre.
David in our YouTube chat asked, why not give him an extension right away? Because that is so much more complicated than getting a 1-year deal done for the number that they were talking about. This wasn't a 1-year $40 million deal,
right,
or something crazy of those numbers. It was a 1-year deal under $10 million. And for the pitcher of Michael King's caliber to get him on the payroll for this type of deal.
Yep.
I think it speaks a lot to Michael King to agree to do this and have this be the case. And it speaks a lot to how important it is, and it was, to Preller to get this done.
Yeah, the issue with the long-term deal, like if you're Preller, you want the long-term deal, but the Seidler bros don't have the money.
Yeah, but
like it's easy. I'm all for. Michael King is for an extension, but they haven't offered it to him. Like if Michael King can get what he's owed or his agent thinks he deserves, he'll take the right deal. I promise you. He doesn't have to hit free agency. Yeah, there's reasons to hit free agency. What if you get hurt? Things happen. What if you have a bad year? He'll take the 125 tomorrow. They're not offering it. That's what I think. I think you settle, quote unquote, as a player. You don't have to bet on yourself. He'll take that $100 million contract. They're just not offering him a $100 million contract.
And while I don't think he will get traded now, it still is a possibility. So anybody out there that is saying because this deal got done today, 100% means he's not getting traded anymore, a lot of things could change. And
I think he could be traded in season.
Oh, absolutely.
Would be more likely than prior to the season.
Yes, I think him being traded prior to the season start, the chances of that happening went down.
Yeah, I think they're low.
But the chances of him being traded in season,
I agree,
are still, I think, the same as they were yesterday.
And let's explain as to why. Why will Michael King, in my opinion, I think you agree, why do I think Michael King's not going to be traded prior to the season? He doesn't make any money. The whole point of the Padres making moves is to free up money. He just agreed to a deal that's going to pay him over the next calendar year $7.75 million. Why would you move that player when Dylan Cease makes $14 million and the returns might be comparable? Michael King's a similar pitcher to Dylan Cease. So if you're going to move one or the other, why not just move the pitcher that makes more money? Dylan Cease frees up $14 million for you. Why would you go free up the guy that makes 7.75? I just think it's a math equation.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense. And you can also get more for the guy that's making 14 as well, because I think teams might view him as a more valuable pitcher.
Fair. He's proven it over a longer period of time.
Yeah, he has a longer resume than King does.
Definitely.
I still am firmly on the side of don't trade Cease. I've bet on the side of don't trade either of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think this might set up a path for them to look down at Robert Suarez now instead. Because
he's making more than King, to your point.
$10 million.
It's a lot of money for a closer. Yep.
If you can package Robert Suarez in a deal, I think that would be a better course of action. I like, do you think the drop off with this team would be more significant if they had no Robert Suarez on this team or no Dylan Cease? It's not even a question.
Comparable.
Not even comparable.
I mean, Zimborski, our guy at Fangraphs, did the whole zips. The whole Padres bullpen, Jim, is worth 3 WAR.
Yeah.
One starting pitcher could be worth 5. The whole Padres bullpen. That's the knock on closers. You already had the lead. Most pitchers theoretically would hold it. Like that. Now it's not as easy as that, but they have good back end bullpen options.
And I think Jason Adam and Jeremiah Estrada are 2 guys. If you wanted to put them in the closer role,
yeah,
I think everyone would feel pretty comfortable with that. Especially Jason Adam, who was arguably their best reliever last year towards the end of the season. He was unhittable. Him and Tanner Scott were unhittable. The one guy that everyone was worried about was Robert Suarez.
Right.
And
now you're not getting the same return.
No, you wouldn't be, but what's
but
more,
is that even that? Yeah,
what's more important right now?
The money.
And building out this roster for this season.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would prefer, okay, if you had 4 players on a piece of paper and one had to move, Robert Suarez, Luis Ariz, Dylan Cease, Michael King.
It's not even a question.
It's got to be Suarez.
Suarez is the
I think Ariz is too important to the overall. I mean, you already have some holes here that we've talked about. Profar's gone, Higgy's gone. Why create another hole? Yeah. Luis Ariz, one thing is for certain, he will be on base. One thing is for certain, he will be on base. So keep him. Cease, King, it's inarguable. Starters are worth more than relievers to the success of a baseball team. So if I had those 4 names on a piece of paper and someone forced me to cross one out, I'd have to cross out Robert Suarez. I think I could do it in 5 minutes if I was in their front office.
Now, do you think because we've heard or seen nothing about an interest level on Robert Suarez that might not be easy to pull off?
Because he's not just 0-10, Jim. He's under contract for 26 and 27.
And I believe those are options that he would have to sign off on.
He has an opt-out, correct. Opt-out after 2025.
And it's for $16 million next year.
Is that what it is? I don't even, because he's owed.
Yeah, his contract is very
it's odd.
Crazy.
I remember the day, but all these contracts are, to your point, the way Preller makes them.
Well, that's what he has to do now. It's the Dodgers have their deferral loophole. The Padres have to figure out a contract loophole that makes it so they're not, money strapped going forward.
All right, let's hear from MLB Network on the other side about a potential deal for Dylan Cease. Plus, if you had to trade one Padre on the Major League roster, if you had to do it, who would you trade if you had to? 877-767-4760 or 70470, start it with team. If you had to trade a Padre on the Major League roster, who'd you trade? 877-767-4760 or 70470, start it with team. We'll hear from MLB Network on a potential deal for Dylan Cease coming up next. Jon and Jim. All right, daily public service announcement. There's a brand new iHeartRadio app. I spent like 20 minutes on this last night in bed, Jim. I'm like, it's got to be a setting or something.
Trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure out the app.
Did it work?
Because I don't have the new app for some reason. But everyone else, prove to me that I'm an idiot. Download the app and just put Jon and Jim and San Diego Sports 760 in your presets. That's all we're asking, right? It's an amazing audio app. You can take us with you wherever you are. You can listen to the podcast by putting Jon and Jim in your presets. You can listen to the show live by putting San Diego Sports 760 in your presets. So if you have the app, open it right now and set us as your presets, right? Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Jim has the app and he likes it a lot.
I love the app. It's great.
I like the app too. I just don't have the presets.
And just a very easy, user-friendly app.
It's so easy. I'm with you 100%.
So put 760 and Jon and Jim, our podcast page, in your presets, and you're ready to go.
Boom. All right, MLB Network. Each and every day, we're getting a little bit more on the possibility of a Dylan Cease trade. Now, we had heard about a Michael King trade, but today they come to terms on this one-year deal with a mutual option. So let's hear from MLB Network about a potential deal for Dylan Cease and react.
Name has come up frequently in trade discussions and trade possibilities, according to reports, as the San Diego Padres potentially are looking at moving the hard-throwing right-hander. And look at this. The New York Mets, according to our Jon Heyman, have reportedly begun discussions with the Padres about a potential deal that would send Dylan Cease to Queens. You see the most strikeouts in Major League Baseball since the start of 2021. Look, I'm not surprised that he's at the top of the list. I'm surprised that it's almost 900.
Right. Yeah.
Since 2021. This is a guy that is a hard thrower. He is a strikeout pitcher. What do you make of Cease possibly to the Mets?
This makes sense to me, Roflo, because I think the Mets need another starter. I really do. I know they brought back Manaea. Senga's coming back too. But when I look at that rotation, I still think, man, if they could get one more starter in that rotation, a front of the line starter, a legit number one. Dylan Cease is that legit number one. So, wow, that would be a huge acquisition for the Mets if they can make that happen.
I wonder, and I agree with you here as you look at the rotation as it stands now for the New York Mets. I wonder what the return, a potential return would look like.
Yeah.
Brett Beatty seems to be blocked a little bit at third with the emergence of Vientos, assuming they don't move Vientos to first base. You got Luis Angel Acuna. I don't know if either one of those guys would be involved.
I don't know if Acuna would be involved. Beatty might be involved, but they do have some pieces. They do have some prospects down there to trade. But when you look at that rotation, you see what I'm saying? Like Clay Holmes. Hey, listen, Clay's great, but he's been a closer for the last few years. That's kind of like a reclamation project. Frankie Montas, to me, is more like a five in that rotation. Yeah. So, Peterson was really good, but he's young. Senga's health last year. So when you start to break that rotation down, you don't feel super confident.
Yeah, that's it.
But if you get a Dylan Cease and put him at the top of the rotation, you're feeling a lot different.
And also remember, Dylan Cease is entering his walk year. So if the Mets get a chance to acquire him, you would figure that the Mets would be among those bidders that would be highly in regard for his services once he hits free agency.
Yeah.
So.
Give me the percentage chance you think Dylan Cease makes it to the opening day roster.
I would put it under 50.
Really?
For the Padres?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd put it under. Yeah, maybe that's a little strong because I think out of Cease, Arise Suarez, it's clearly under 50. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the speculation. I'm gonna say Dylan Cease is traded before opening day. Now, I'm not saying it's 99% chance. I would just, if I had to put it under like 50-50 or worse, I'd say there's less than a 50% chance Dylan Cease is here.
Yeah, I want to say 60-40 he's on the roster opening day, but I'm just looking at the numbers here, and I'm looking at the smoke around Dylan Cease, and I'm looking at the fact that you still have an incomplete roster.
Right.
You have 4, I believe, spots on your 40-man left to fill. That's a lot of spots, and it's January 31st.
Mm-hmm.
So with all that being said, I think I'm at 50-50. I want to say 60-40, but I think I'm at 50-50 right now. He makes the opening day roster.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely be convinced either way. We'll talk about it coming up here throughout the hour. Like, they are right now over the CBT number. So how do you get under it? It's as simple as that. You have to complete your roster and get under this number. How do you do it? And I think there's a few ways. And Dylan Cease is one of the clear ways to do it because of what he makes.
Mhm.
Yeah, Arise because of what he makes. Yes, Suarez because of what he makes.
But also
Where
because
else?
not only
The
is
return?
the number would help you a lot, but you could potentially get a nice return,
Yeah.
a way better return for Cease than Suarez.
Yeah, good point.
Suarez is not going to give you anything of substance at all. But Dylan Cease could give you maybe a really high level prospect or even a borderline major league starter. Like,
Yeah. From what we've heard
in the field or pitching or whatever.
I mean, what we heard yesterday regarding the Cubs, what we're hearing today regarding the Mets. I mean, I certainly don't love the whole National League trade within league conversation, but if you have to do it, you have to do it. I mean, what are you not going to make the best trade because the other team is in your league? There's so many factors that go into making the postseason or not making the postseason. I could trade with the team because they're in the National League. So I say if I'm AJ Preller, go get the best possible return. And I'm assuming they're under the CBT. I mean, how shocking will it be? The team that just did another crazy deal with Michael King and paid him this, that, and the other, but they're going to go over the CBT now.
All we've heard is how they are not going over the CBT.
Right.
And it's not just from one person. It's from
everyone has said that.
Everybody.
And everyone has said, from Jeff Passan to Ken Rosenthal to Kevin Acee, Dennis Lynn, they're all like, it's kind of weird. It's murky. Yeah. The ownership's in flux.
And even if they try to pull a fast one, not try, but if they do pull a fast one on everybody and say, just kidding, our number's over the CBT this year. We're now tax offenders.
Right.
Well, they still have to build out a roster. So that would mean they'd have to go well over that instead of shaving off either 14 million or 10 million from Suarez and Cease and then using that, maybe 5 million of that to get a spot here and there, and then hopefully in the trade for whoever you have a piece that you could plug and play as well.
Yeah, you need some plug and play. I still ask the question, like, how do you trade Dylan Cease and then fill out your rotation? Like, what is your rotation going to look like? Because
I don't know.
Unless you're trading Dylan Cease to get someone back that's going to be in your rotation, because you're not going to use the money you free up on Cease to go get a piece in your rotation.
And as Jon Heyman said yesterday, if they do end up trading either Cease or King, they would turn their attentions to guys like Nick Pivetta or Jack Flaherty.
Yeah, but those are $20 million plus pitchers, right?
Yeah,
per year.
If guys like Justin Verlander are getting 15 a year,
yeah.
I think Jack Flaherty, who just won a World Series, who was a huge part of the Dodgers' success in the postseason,
he's getting more.
That'd be something, though. Imagine Jack Flaherty on this roster after what happened last year in the postseason.
Sinister sling. But why would you trade Cease in his 14 to go sign someone for 24? So, like, again, some of this stuff, they got to make the puzzle fit. How much are they over the CBT? We're going to discuss that on the other side here until 6 p.m. We've got giveaways for you. We've got great guests on today's show here until 6 p.m. Don't go anywhere.
All right, this update is brought to you by Lowe's. Padres made it official today. They avoided arbitration with Michael King, agreeing to a 1-year deal with an option for the 2026 season. And San Diego State takes on Wyoming tomorrow night, 5 p.m. tip, 4 p.m. pregame. You can listen to that right here on San Diego Sports 760. Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. Download the Lowe's app to get their home improvement playbook in your hands so you can get their team's expertise anytime.
All right, the Aztecs take on Wyoming tomorrow night. Pre-game coverage at 4. Ted Leitner's got the tip at 5 right here in your home of the Aztecs. San Diego Sports 760. So you referenced this earlier. We've touched on it already. But Jeff Sanders put out a tweet. He covers the Padres for the Union Tribune with Kevin Acee, and he crunches the numbers on where the Padres are with payroll, and they're over this CBT number by $4 million. Fangraphs has the Padres luxury tax number at $245 million, which is $4 million more than the $241 million threshold. So that's where they are right now with the Michael King deal in the bag, $7.75 million guaranteed for 2025. So again, it's kind of like I like it. I mean, it's a math game. It's a puzzle. Like I like trying to figure out how to make it work, but that's AJ Preller's job, not my job. But how do you go down? Well, tell me how you go down. You have to get rid of Major League payroll, right? There's no other way to go down.
And they have $34.25 million of essentially dead money.
Would that be Hosmer Musgrove?
Hosmer, Musgrove, and Hassan Kim's buyout of $2 million.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay.
So you got $34 million there that is not being used that they could have used.
The only one there that's not defensible is Hosmer.
Right.
Because Musgrove's hurt, sucks, happens. Yeah. And the buyout for Kim is a reasonable $2 million buyout is a reasonable buyout.
Yeah. Yeah. You couldn't have predicted that Musgrove's $20 million would be dead money this year.
Nope. But the Hosmer thing, that's carrying on. Yeah.
It hurts.
That's a factor. Yeah.
It hurts.
So where do you turn? I mean, you go cute and go like, oh, we moved Yuki Matsui this offseason, to get under the number.
Wouldn't be opposed. I mean, if they could get Yuki Matsui and they traded Yuki Matsui and Robert Suarez,
right? It's a lot of money.
That's a good amount right there. Yep. And the one thing that Preller has done consistently is build pretty good bullpens and find closers. And the easiest thing to build and replenish at not a huge cost is a bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
That is just look at the numbers. You're not going to see bullpens making huge inflated salaries. So if you could offload of Yuki Matsui and Robert Suarez, you save $15 million right there, and you can replenish that and use it for other areas of needs. I don't know, left field. And then you can make a trade for a reliever, and you bump up Jason Adam and Jeremiah Estrada as your 8-9 guys. That's what I would be doing. But again, that's why I'm not a GM, because he is going to be maybe looking at other avenues, and he's going to be making those decisions. But like, if we're playing fantasy baseball here and we're playing, video game baseball, I'm trading Robert Suarez out of the 4 that we talked about. And if you need to trade one more person that wouldn't be too difficult, I think it's Yuki Matsui.
Yeah, I mean, I would trade Wandy Peralta. I don't think there's an appetite for it, obviously.
I would love to trade Wandy Peralta. That contract's awful.
The easiest one, and people put this on the text line when I said, who would you trade if you had to trade someone? Like, is there an answer other than Xander Bogaerts? It's a fair point. Like, if you could just move a player, but you can't. I mean, I don't see how it's even possible. You part ways, but you're just writing him a check. It's going to be dead money for the Padres. If they get rid of Xander Bogaerts, you're still going to be paying him. There's no way you're moving that salary without paying a good portion of it. So what options do you have? I mean, you have Luis Ariz, you have Dylan Cease, you have Robert Suarez, and then to a lesser extent, salary-wise, like we've just commented on, you have Yuki Matsui. But like, look at the Jeff Sanders tweet of what these players make. There's not that much creativity. You got 8, 10, 12 guys that don't make anything, right? Because they're on their first deals, like the Tyler Wades of the world and the Jackson Merrills of the world. And then you got the 10, 12 guys that make a lot of money. So you're not moving your young controllable pieces, and you're not trying to move a guy making $2 million like Adrian Morejon. You're hoping to get some upside with Adrian Morejon, who you bet on forever ago. So I think there's like 2, 3, 4 realistic options of who the Padres could move between now and opening day, right? You're looking at it too. We're both looking at it like, how do you do
this? Man, I'm just looking at their outfield. Oh,
It's Toddy.
Listen to their outfield. Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, Brandon Lockridge, Tirso Ornelas, and TBD.
Yeah, TBD is listed. So they truly do. Yeah. I mean, they actually need an outfielder.
Yeah. So they're going to have to get an outfielder, and they have 4 open spots on their 40-man.
Right.
That's going to have to be filled.
Yep.
I would assume a couple of those minor league signings will make the 40-man. And
someone in one of those non-roster invitees, one of them, 2 of them will make the major league roster.
Yeah. I think if we're looking at this right now, Eggy Rosario feels like a slam dunk to make this opening day roster at this point in time.
Yep.
Same thing with Brandon Lockridge and Tirso Ornelas.
Probably.
Our boy Wadey, he's gonna be on the opening day roster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Johnny Brito, guy didn't see much time in the big leagues last year.
Right.
But he's probably gonna get a bunch of time.
Yep.
And then they're gonna need to fill that TBD spot.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, even look at the rotation right now. Like, listen to this. That if from a payroll perspective, Yu Darvish makes a lot of money, folks, as we know, $21 million. Dylan Cease is a bargain, but he makes nearly 14. Michael King, I guess in theory, is $4 million, but again, he's guaranteed 7.75. But think about that. King, and then they have Matt Waldron and Randy Vasquez. Both of them don't even make $1 million. They're still on their first major league deal. That, again, you trade away Dylan Cease, and now you have Waldron and you have Vasquez and you have someone like Brian Hoeing or Johnny Brito. Like, you've just gotten too thin.
You know, waking up today and then later on seeing the Michael King news. It dropped it right at 10 a.m.
Right at 10.
Right at 10.
10 of the notes.
And it's a positive, and you have
I thought so.
You have to, look at the wins when you get them and be happy about those. We talk about that all the time. Like, just get wins.
I agree.
Get wins when you can. It's a win. You avoided arbitration. I think we would have killed the Padres if they went to arbitration with King. Yep. So thankfully they didn't, and they avoided all that mess. But still, nothing's changed. Like, nothing has changed. They haven't gotten better.
Yeah, you already had them in the fold.
And they haven't gotten worse, but they haven't gotten better. So it's
the real shot in the arm would have been hey, we signed a 4-year deal for this guy.
Oh,
everyone would have been so excited that they spent money and they locked him up, and he was a centerpiece moving forward. It's still possible long term. It's absolutely possible. I don't know if it's probable. Now, in this offseason, Jim, where everything goes wrong, it is a good day. I think to know that Michael King and the Padres aren't going to arbitration, and to know that there's a very good chance he's here to start 2025, I think is overall positive. There's been so many negatives this offseason, but you're right. It's not the good news that a lot of Padres fans have gotten over the last 5 years, where it's sizable trade, sizable free agent signing. That's not this. He was already here in 2024, and now he's likely back to start 2025.
You didn't have to open the show up today by saying the not good, very bad offseason continues.
Exactly. And I didn't want to. I mean, I'm glad I think for Padres fans, it's a small positive. I think it's good, like you said, going into FanFest. FanFest is a positive overall day. It should be. There's nothing wrong with it. FanFest tomorrow should be really good. It really should. Right? I mean, Padres fans should be celebrating this team. They had a nice year last year, really nice year. And hopefully they have a good year moving forward. But the offseason has had a lot of negativity to it. Not today, thankfully. Hopefully not tomorrow with FanFest, but there's a lot more than FanFest. I hope tomorrow's an amazing day for Padres fans and the Padres organization. It should be. There's no reason that it won't be. But then you turn the page and you start thinking about how you're going to win 89 games and get to the postseason, and they have real work to do to get there.
Real work,
right?
To do.
Beyond FanFest.
Yeah, FanFest, they have said it's supposed to be a lot of people.
What about leadership council meetings? Have you seen this? Did we talk about this?
What?
Where's the Fadden tweet from yesterday? I thought I sent it to you. Hold on. Did I send this to you? Yeah, like everyone from ownership is meeting with the fans.
Let me pull up the actual. Hold on. Here we go. So this is from the Padres. The know before you go.
Yeah.
So the schedule of events, I have descriptions of all of them.
Yeah.
10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's the Padres Foundation garage sale. Everyone loves that. I remember Rich McGuire a couple years ago got me a Eric Hosmer
cutout
sign.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rich. You have players and alumni autographs. You have the Padres player and leadership forums from 11 a.m. to 2:15 p.m. forum.
Mhm.
What's this forum? Yeah. Throughout the day, Padres players and leadership will be speaking on the Saquon stage at Gallagher Square. Does it say who will be speaking?
No, they didn't say who. But that's like when Orsillo interviews Jay Cronenworth and Don Orsillo interviews Eric Grupner. But is it going to be? Is it going to be Eric Katsenda? Is it going to be Eric Grupner? Is it going to be AJ Preller?
And the leadership forum is from 12:15 to 1.
Yeah. Just good amount. I mean, 45 minutes. Are they really going to talk for 45 minutes with Eric Grupner and Eric Katsenda or AJ Preller or the Seidler brothers?
My guess is it would be Preller.
That's my guess too. Maybe Eric Grupner.
I don't know why Eric Grupner would need to speak.
I would hope it would be someone like AJ Preller. I mean, that would be interesting to hear. It would be very interesting to hear.
Preller and Grupner on the same stage together.
Do you think you get any ownership in there?
No.
Is there even an owner?
Well, Eric Katsenda is technically still the control person of this team.
But it's kind of like when you're on your way out. It's like, I'll give you the example. The political example is like, once you lose the election, you're still there for another 2 months.
Yeah.
But you're on your way out and someone new is coming in. So is Eric Katsenda really going to speak for the team if John Seidler's taking over tomorrow or the next day? I don't know. Eric Katsenda has only spoken one time. Wouldn't you be very surprised if he spoke in front of tens of thousands of people?
Yeah, he's not speaking tomorrow.
In his sweater?
No. Sidlers aren't speaking tomorrow.
Shock me.
The Sidlers aren't speaking tomorrow. Katsenda's not speaking tomorrow.
Preller should.
Preller will be there.
Yeah, Preller's a positive for the fan. I mean, no fans, but AJ, why'd you? No, it has nothing to do with AJ Preller.
No, I would, if Grupner does speak.
I mean, then you have questions about payroll and
I'd be like, hey, Group Dog. Got any update on that TV deal, bro? But Preller, he will be a stonewall with any questions asked. And it's going to probably be like Jesse on stage asking, or Don.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're not going to push him.
No, they're not grilling him.
No. They're going to ask him about the team and make it as fluffy as possible, which is what they're supposed to do. Don't blame anybody for that. But yeah, I don't think you would get anything anyway from Preller, even if he was asked about.
No, because you never do. But it still would be a good look for the organization to have AJ Preller take 10 questions from its fan base. Just to sit up there
and
a
risky game.
It might be a risky game.
That's a risky game.
Some of your texts on the other side I want to get to. 70470. Start it with the word team. Again, 70470. You can start it with the word team. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network at 5:30. Chris Hodge, free picks for our listeners. He'll join us at 4:30. Jon and Jim. All right, so with FanFest being tomorrow, and I'm sure a number of you are going, and I think Jim's going to be there. We think. Maybe not. We'll see what the schedule looks like. So you might see Jim. Make sure you bother him if you see him. But with FanFest being tomorrow, we touched on this earlier, it's like a community day for some of these Padres players. They've been at schools. They've been with different Padres partners, like marketing partners, one of which I think is Jack in the Box, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a big partner, San Diego company.
Hey, Jack is on the right field foul pole.
Exactly. Right. So this is a big time
Free
partner.
jumbo jacks when you get home
for
runs.
years and years and years.
Yeah, huge sponsor of the Padres.
So Padres players, as we speak at this hour, are like serving fast food at a Jack in the Box in San Diego, correct?
Correct. Let me just say this.
Okay. The issue with that is it can be used against you. Is that what you're going to say?
Here's my problem, okay? How many times have you seen with anything,
right?
Somebody, and this has no knock on anybody that works at a fast food restaurant,
but it's going to be used against them, you're saying?
That when you see a professional athlete or a person in politics or somebody famous working at a fast food restaurant, and they end up either having like their next movie sucks, or they lose something, or the player ends up being blows a save, and
then the other fan base like posts the photo of you serving the burger, for example.
Like, oh, have fun working at your next job at McDonald's, or Jack in the Box in this case.
I got what you're saying. So it could be. It's almost like it's because it can be used against you.
It is. It is never.
You're saying it's not a good idea.
It's never a good idea. I think it's great that they're doing this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's good that they're out in the community. I mean, they've been in schools today.
If I was a Dodger fan, which again, thank God I'm not, but if I was a Dodger fan,
right,
I am bookmarking all of these pictures,
all the photos to use against them.
It's just giving them free ammo
fodder. Yeah,
when the last thing you want to do is give them free ammo. Again,
yeah, but they're doing the same stuff up there. You think they're not at Pink's Hot Dogs, and cooking hot dogs and crap like
that?
And
it's always used by Padres
fans, Brent.
Yeah,
so
no, it's true.
You are like, oh man, this is gonna come back to haunt these guys, isn't it? It's like it's a tricky thing. You got to be careful because those pictures will resurface if the Padres aren't good this year, or if a player that's doing this like blows a save or is not playing well or DFA'd, like
traded.
You are.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I think it'd be cool if I got to the window and Jake Cronenworth gave me my mini tacos.
Cool. I mean, I think it'd be cool if you went to school and there's Manny Machado in a Padres uniform signing autographs. No, it's a good day. Padres are very good in the community. I mean, they are traditionally very good in the community. I mean, I think the Padres have an amazing relationship with this city. But you're right. Are some of those photos potentially going to be used by Dodger fans or others against the Padres? Yeah, probably.
There's a funny video posted of Michael King throwing to 9-year-olds, and someone quote tweeted and said, "Can't even get a swing and miss from a 9-year-old."
No, he can. He'll be able to.
It's a joke, but you get my point. Is when you it's everything. So it's not just the Padres doing this or whatever. It's anytime this happens, it can be used as some social media meme out there.
100%
at any point. I'm just saying, be careful. Because now the free ammo is just served on a silver platter to every other fan base.
It's out there right now. A couple of texts that have rolled in. 619 says definitely will be used against us now that the guys broadcast this on the radio, no doubt. 619 says if you had to lose Cease or Suarez, it would have to be Cease. He only pitches once a week and can only affect so many games. Suarez can save you so many more. If you lose him, you weaken a bullpen that already lost Scott. How did the Dodgers win the World Series last year? Was it their depleted starting pitching or dominant bullpen? Listen, I mean, I'm happy to have that conversation. I'd much prefer typically to have the starting pitching over the bullpen. You want both? Fair. The Dodgers didn't win a World Series the traditional way. Like their starting pitching was not as deep as it would normally be for a team winning World Series last year. They did have bullpen days to help them win that World Series, but
their bullpen was like incredible,
historically good.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, yeah, I get it. Like today, starting pitching in the postseason doesn't mean as much as it meant like 25 years ago. But I'm taking the starting pitching to get me to the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm going to need the starting pitching to get me there or for 162.
At minimum, you have to have three really good starters.
And like, the adage on a closer, like, what good are they if you don't have a good team?
Exactly, not being used.
If you don't have Cease, you're not going to turn it over to Suarez as often because theoretically with Cease, you're going to leave with leads.
How many times was Suarez used in the postseason last year?
Great question.
I want to say no more than twice.
Is that right? It was only 2 games against Atlanta the series, and then 5 games obviously against LA. And they lost 3 of them against LA. So that's probably fair.
I'm going to say twice.
All right. And I will look it up. And he was used 3 times in both games against the Braves, where he went 2 scoreless innings. Did he have 2 saves? No, he had 1. And then he did have a save against the Dodgers. He worked 1 1/3 scoreless innings with 2 strikeouts. So 2 saves and 3 appearances, 3 1/3 innings overall.
So 3 1/3 innings for $10 million.
Yeah.
Which it could be proven to be very valuable,
right?
In right situations. Like if he had 3 saves in the division round, then guess what? The Padres are moving on.
Yeah, of course.
And and you've only pitched 3 innings. That's well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember him being like this very impactful piece last year. I do remember him in the Atlanta series coming in and looking like prime, vintage Robert Suarez.
And we were all nervous heading into October.
Thinking to myself, okay, if this is the Robert Suarez you're going to get in the postseason,
yes.
Wow. But then they never used him. Now, they didn't have great opportunities to use him and deploy him, but if you can get the same production from Jason Adam, truthfully, and Jeremiah Estrada, and you can get another reliever in there that can give you 50, 60 innings at a very low cost.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my concern is they're clearly between a bit of a rock and a hard place. And that's my concern. Like, not what are they going to do? They'll have to do something, but whatever they do, they're going to make it harder to win in 2025 than it was in 2024. Because in 24 they had Cease, and they had Suarez, and they had Arise, and they had King. If any of those pieces now leave the puzzle, it's just a harder puzzle to complete in 2025. All right, so FanFest is tomorrow. And again, your texts, we're going to get to them all. If you had to move a major leaguer off this roster, who would it be? A lot of texts are rolling in. We can get to some of those in the 3 o'clock hour. 70470. Start it with the word team. Looking forward to having Chris Hodge join us at 4:30. He's been great for our listeners. Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network will join us at 5:30. We've got giveaways for you today as well. Don't go anywhere. Hour 2 of Jon and Jim. It'll come your way. Coming up next.
This update is brought to you by Lowe's. We'll start with Padres news. Some good news this morning as the Padres announced they have avoided arbitration with Michael King, agreeing to a 1-year deal with him with an option for the 2026 season for $15 million. San Diego State takes on Wyoming tomorrow night, 5 p.m. tip. 4 p.m. pregame right here on San Diego Sports 760. Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. Download the Lowe's app to get their home improvement playbook in your hands so you can get their team's expertise anytime.
Previously on Jon and Jim.
Over under a half game that I attend this year.
I mean, that's such an easy bet. You're not going to go Saturday. Oh, Aaron's got a friend in town. We're going to go pick tulips from the Tulip Center. There's going to be like 2 midweek games. You're like, nah, I can't go. I got to pick up dinner. And then there's like 2 weekend games. You're like, no, I can't go. Aaron's friend's in town.
How about the last game of the year?
Senior night.
San Diego State versus Nevada, 7:30 Saturday night.
You're okay? Are you going to go?
Yeah, March 8th.
All right, we'll remind you.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2, Jon and Jim here until 6. Next hour, your chance to win tickets to see Creed. Plus, Chris Hodge taking Vegas. Free picks for our listeners at 5:30. Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network will join us. So there's a lot going on right now. Jim can't believe the whole idea of the Padres players.
No, I can believe it. I just know
it's going to be used against them.
Social media works. Because would you consider me a troll?
Yes.
Okay. So being one, I know how they work.
Right.
And when there's videos of Michael King flipping burgers at Jack in the Box,
it's going to be used against them.
And Tyler Wade with a headset on, putting fries in bags, it will be used against them. I'm just saying that right now. So Padres fans, when you see these videos out, if these players and when these players don't perform, it will be used against this team.
Well, as long as they win 100 games and win the division and win the World Series, there's going to be no issues. Speaking of the World Series, there's no way this is a coincidence that the Dodgers will be giving away replica World Series trophies against the Padres because it's in June. So June 17th, because remember the Padres and Dodgers don't meet much early, right? Didn't we have that conversation? Is their first meeting in June, the Padres and the Dodgers this year? Maybe a series at Petco in June and then a series at Dodger Stadium in June? We had this whole
when they
conversation.
It's like back-to-back weeks.
Yes.
So it's like 2 weeks, and then that's like it. Almost.
Well, anyway, the Dodgers will give away World Series replica trophies on June 17th. Do you think that's a coincidence? Is that a troll job? Speaking of trolling?
Yes.
It is, right?
This is what makes
rivalries good.
Rivalries great. And that's why I was so not upset, but just, hey, can we stop being like, I don't know, upset about the whole Clayton Kershaw meme thing? Like it's a part of the rivalry. You jab each other back and forth with funny memes and very harmless things. These are very harmless things. The Padres working at Jack in the Box today, flipping burgers. It's very harmless, but it will be used against them this season on social media 1,000%.
Right.
When they do not do well.
Right.
Putting up a meme on a video board, while some players did have a problem with it, is harmless fun in the eyes of a lot of people. This thing that the Dodgers are doing is a troll job. Last year, we talked about this. The Giants, do you remember? They had Mickey Mouse ear giveaway night when they were playing the Dodgers. It is all fun and games. And if you can't handle it, then you shouldn't be watching.
What about Blake Snow bobblehead night against the Padres?
Is it really?
Which is kind of funny.
Oh my God.
They actually have 3 giveaways against the Padres. They have Blake Snell's bobblehead.
What? Roki Sasaki appreciation night.
By the way, you know, we talked about the Padres for their promotional schedule, which is it's incredible. The Dodgers are literally doing a bobblehead for every one of their players.
How many giveaways do they have?
Like let me 60? Just control F on the bobblehead. I think they have 17 bobbleheads.
17?
Can I just read them real quick? Seriously?
Go ahead.
Just remember what I told you yesterday when we had the goals in here?
Did Otani's dog get another bobblehead?
Probably.
Listen, like remember I told you that having worked in minor league baseball or sports, like what sells is fireworks and bobbleheads, right? Like it's not rocket science, right? The Dodgers sell tickets like the Padres. Listen to this, Jim. Okay. Shohei Ohtani MVP bobblehead.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me start over. Shohei Ohtani MVP bobblehead. Freddie Freeman bobblehead. Dave Roberts bobblehead. Mookie Betts bobblehead.
What?
Shohei Ohtani 50-50 bobblehead.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot
Vin
he did that.
Scully bobblehead.
Okay.
Will Smith bobblehead. Tommy Edman.
The catcher or the rapper?
Catcher, thank
catcher.
you. Tommy Edman, San Diegan bobblehead. Tommy Edman. Blake Snell bobblehead. Ice Cube, come on down, bobblehead.
That must be nice.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto, bobblehead. Joe Davis, bobblehead.
Should I get that Joe Davis one for you?
Do you think he'll talk?
Ron C, Legends of Dodgers Baseball, bobblehead. Okay. Fernando Valenzuela, bobblehead. Teoscar Hernandez, bobblehead. Roki Sasaki, bobblehead. Kobe Bryant, bobblehead. 17.
That is
Whoa.
Objectively taking off my hatred
Ridiculous.
hat of the Dodgers. That's incredible.
Padres of 6, which I thought was awesome. I thought that was a big number.
And 3 of them might not even be on the team when they have the bobbleheads.
Right. Well, we think King will be now.
Right.
That's fun. But 17. I don't even know how we got here. So I guess the point is they have so many promotions. I guess they had to do some of them against the Padres.
But they strategically
They had
put
to, man.
There is no way
They didn't have an email
they
chain.
weren't looking at this schedule and being like,
Brewers
where,
or Padres for this?
where are we going to put the Blake Snell bobblehead? Oh, let's
Yeah.
put it against the Padres.
And where are we going to put the World Series trophy?
Oh, against the Padres. Because they claim all the time, or they claimed all the time this offseason, how the Padres were their toughest opponent.
They did. They say that. The players said that.
Yeah.
Some of their Mookie Betts said that. Mookie Betts did a sit-down podcast with Fernando Tatis Jr. after they lost to the Padres.
They love them.
Yeah.
Can we get a bobblehead of
Of that?
Fernando? Of the
podcast studio.
Yeah,
That'd
that's
be
great.
amazing.
Think about a Fernando Tatis Jr.
With
Mookie
Mookie
Betts
Betts.
podcast bobblehead.
Yeah, they should probably give away the thing that says Tatis hit the longest home run ever at Dodger
They do have
Stadium.
a plaque up.
I
there,
know.
so that's great. That is like a troll that the Dodgers did to themselves when
Yeah,
they put
definitely.
up that plaque
Definitely.
for Fernando Tatis Jr.
I don't even know how we got here. Other than, yeah, you're right. Like good rivalries have troll jobs. You know what I said the day of the Kershaw thing. The issue with it from the Padre perspective was they haven't won. If I've won 2 of the last 3 World Series, I'll throw memes and videos everywhere.
It was after they beat the Dodgers in the postseason.
No, it was after they won an April regular
No,
season
I know,
game.
but it came the year after that.
I know, but it was not well timed. But it's fine. I'm not saying it means anything either, but it's still, like you said, it hangs over your head. Now, Dodger fans reference that all the time.
Yeah, and now
I agree. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and we got here because of the World Series and Blake Snell bobbleheads landing on the days when the Dodgers play the Padres this year.
Correct.
Up in LA. Definite troll job. Respect. I can't hate on it because I would want the Padres to do the exact same thing.
They have one other giveaway against the Padres. So they have the Blake Snell.
Mm-hmm.
They have the World Series replica trophies. And then the next day, this is 3 straight days, gold player jerseys. Oh, they're wearing gold jerseys, I think. I don't know what that really signifies. It says gold player jerseys. Well, against the Padres. I don't know what that means. Is that because they won the World Series?
When they wear that, though, on
Remember the Royals?
opening day?
Yeah, teams would do that. That's like the World Series winning. But again, it's troll. This is just trolling, man.
Yeah. And
You're cool with it.
am 100% cool with it. If you can't take it, then don't dish it out.
It's like troll recognizing troll, game recognizing game.
Like on social media, when I get blasted for whatever,
right?
I can't sit there and get all butthurt about it because I dish it out as well.
Right. No, that's a great point.
On our YouTube channel, how many Dodger trolls invade that thing?
On both this and the wrap-up show?
Oh my gosh.
Right.
How many Dodger trolls invade our Instagram page?
A lot.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is funny how I don't see now, nor do I seek out content, but I don't see a lot of talk of Padres fans invading Dodgers, either YouTube channels or talk radio shows, even though they don't talk about the Dodgers in LA. Like, I don't see much of that. But if you can't dish it, if you can't take it, then don't dish it out. And I respect this. I would hope that if tables were reversed, the Padres would do the exact same thing. That's just how this thing is, and I think that is what's fun about sports.
That's well
is
said.
These little things that fans can look at and say, "Yeah, we got the upper hand on you," and so we're gonna, troll you. I think the word troll is it seems almost like it's worse than it really is. Maybe making fun, maybe jab, like ribbing, like make a little fun of somebody else. Being self-deprecating.
Yeah.
Now it's not self-deprecating when you shove it in the face of the Padres that, we won the World Series last year through you guys. Thanks.
Right.
We have Blake Snell on our team and you don't. He just won a Cy Young with you guys a couple years ago. And now he's on our team.
Yeah.
So it's all funny. It's all fun and games. And I respect them for it because I want the Padres to do the exact same thing.
Back to this text line about like who the Padres could or should move. It's so interesting to see how people think about it. Some people are like, how would you move Suarez over Cease, or how would you move Cease over Suarez? So 760 says Suarez is the most overhyped pitcher I've ever seen. He throws one pitch, it's 100 miles plus, so it looks sexy on paper, but that ball has no movement. So when hitters are locked in the postseason, you get contact, that balls are gone, and teams started figuring that out around the All-Star break. It shows in his usage. So like that's the other thing with Suarez. I mean, is that a fair point? Like he makes a lot of money and he wasn't as effective in the second half of last year. Weren't we saying every day, Jim, dude needs to develop a second pitch? And I don't know, maybe they will, or maybe they have, or maybe something's happening here in 2025 with Niebla. But like, yeah, he makes a lot of money, but like, is he susceptible? Like, was he figured out at all in the second half last year?
Yeah, he was.
He was, yeah.
When you have a pretty straight fastball that was getting hit pretty regularly hard, and he was blowing a lot of saves and walking a lot. And it was just every time he was in there, you didn't know what you're going to get, to a point where the most positive person on the planet, Mike Schilt, kind of called out Robert Suarez. When you have Schilty, of all people, calling you out,
it's a bad stretch.
You are you're not doing well, because he is going to be positive through and through. So, yeah, I agree with that texture. Not that he's overrated. I agree that maybe you got the best out of him. Maybe he is going to be found out a little bit more. And instead of having what do you have? What is ERA this past year? Like 2-something, low 2s?
I think I can look, but yeah.
Maybe his ERA jumps because he still hasn't figured out a second pitch.
It was 2.77.
Okay, that's not great.
Yeah, with a 1.05 whip, which is a little high for an elite closer.
But at the All-Star break last year and throughout most of that season, he had a low 1 ERA.
Yeah.
It was not till the end of the season in September where he was getting up home runs every outing, and it just was not good.
Yeah, he had the wasted season in 2023 where he wasn't healthy and he had the
sticky stuff.
He had a 4.25 ERA that year. And in 2022, when he burst onto the scene, he had a 2.27 ERA, but he made 45 appearances that year. He made 65 appearances last year for the Padres. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, does Robert Suarez stay or go? Does Dylan Cease stay or go for the Padres? On the other side, farm system rankings. All right. ESPN has put those out. Where do the Padres stack up against the rest of baseball? That's on the other side. Plus, we're getting you ready for the Aztecs tomorrow. Another critical game against the University of Wyoming. Chris Hodge has free picks for our listeners at 4:30, and Cynthia Freeland joins us from the NFL Network at 5:30. But where's the Padres system stack up right now heading into 2025? That's next. right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network will join us at 5:30. We have Chris Hodge taking Vegas, joining us at 4:30. We do have ESPN's farm system rankings.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Nothing like a good farm system ranking
Hey, man.
to kick off your weekend.
That is like the juiciest content possible.
Well, here's the good news. The Padres are in the top 30.
Oh, nice.
There's only 30 teams.
Oh, whoops.
The bad news is the Padres farm system ranks, drum roll, we don't need one.
No.
But Brent's going to provide one anyway. The Padres farm system, according to ESPN.com's Kyler McDaniel, ranks 26th.
Wah, wah.
2 top 100 prospects, 3 in the top 200. Okay, not great, right? Leo DeVries, Ethan Salas, and then he says lefty Cash Mayfield snuck into the end of the top 200. After that, it's almost entirely higher variance players in the low minors and a handful of big league inventory types. Okay.
What?
Do you read too much into them being 26? I mean, Atlanta is 27th, for example. The San Francisco Giants are 29th. The Houston Astros are 30th. I mean, the caveat is, guess who is number 1?
Let me guess.
Yeah,
The
no, it's
Dodgers.
Not yeah, even better than the White Sox, and all they've done is sell off parts.
Well, it's nice when you have Roki Sasaki added to your prospect list, who is the
Correct.
number 1 prospect in baseball.
So Kyler McDaniel actually writes that once the season gets underway, it'll be the White Sox.
Makes sense.
But to start the year, it's going to be the Dodgers, then the White Sox.
Yeah.
Are you concerned?
I've come to, in the Preller era, really not care much about prospect rankings anymore. Because the first wave of hot talent lava turned out to be a bunch of nothing.
It wasn't very hot.
The, I guess, second wave all got traded away. Now, Jackson Merrill is a part of the third wave of talent.
Yep.
And he hit in a huge way. Dude's an all-star stud. Love Jackson Merrill. But other than him, it's been nothing. Like the players they traded away for Juan Soto, the Mackenzie Gores, the Wood, the CJ Abrams, they're nice. But have they hit yet? Have they gotten to the Jackson Merrill level? Have they turned it into all-stars?
Not Merrill.
No. It's kind of yet to be determined.
Yeah.
We talked about who was that left fielder? Oh, what's his name? See, I'm forgetting his name because he's
from what? That was traded away that was a minor leaguer?
Yeah.
In the Juan Soto deal?
Yeah.
You're talking about not Wood.
Not Wood.
And left fielder? Prospect?
Prospect, yeah.
Tall guy? But no, because I'm thinking of, remember the pitcher Susanna?
Yeah, he was in the deal.
He's like 14 years old when they traded him.
But who? But it's Bobby.
Bobby?
No. What's his name? Robert Hassel.
Robert Hassel, yeah.
Talk about Robert Hassel
oh, man.
all the time.
People pretend like he was going to be Jackson Merrill.
Dude's nothing. Maybe he turns into something. I don't know. But right now, nothing burger.
Right.
So the prospect rankings to me mean very little because what I do know is AJ Preller is always good at cooking the books. He's always good at doing that. Last year, I would bet his the farm system was probably rated higher than it is right now.
Oh, 100%.
And he used all of those prospects to get Dylan Cease, to get Jason Adam and Tanner Scott and Brian Hoeing, to get Luis Ariz. Now, over the next year plus, Preller is going to have to cook the books again and get more prospects in your system. And by the time next year, arrives, hopefully Salas and DeVries have gotten better and their rankings go up. And then a couple of people in the system will maybe crack the top 100. And then there you go. Now you have the top 15 farm system.
Well, listen, before we, vilify the Abrams and the Mackenzie Gores, right?
Not vilify them. I'm just saying they're not. Like,
Abrams 3.4 WAR last year.
Yeah, but he's also
year.
Caught gambling at a casino like 2 a.m.
Okay.
I know.
Well, guess what? Fernando Tatis Jr. missed a year.
That's right. I get it.
So,
okay.
Eye for an eye.
Was he an all-star?
He was not.
Okay.
But who cares? The all-star system is not exactly the greatest system in American history.
No, but how much true value did CJ Abrams bring to the Washington Nationals last year?
110 OPS plus. Okay, that's fair. I'm not saying this guy's the next
Derek
Cal
Jeter.
Ripken or Derek Jeter. But Mackenzie Gore, 3.9 ERA, made 32 starts. So, there's something there, is my point. He made 32 starts. So I get your point. I guess I would say if Gore and Abrams were still here, they probably
They're nice pieces.
would be, they'd be a part of a core. They're not the top of your core. They'd be pieces that you would need.
And the Nationals aren't a good baseball team, so it's probably not even really a good example. But Jackson Merrill, what he did last year for the Padres was so impactful.
I agree.
I don't know if CJ Abrams
you're right.
Gore would have had that impact with this team. Maybe they would. I don't know. It's hypothetical, obviously. Yeah. But the prospect ranking system is a big thing for Preller because he kind of manipulates the system and he uses that to his advantage when he ends up eventually trading all these guys away for major league talent in 2-3 years. But right now, I mean, it's unfortunate because you would love if they had like the top 5 system, then you would feel more confident going into the season with giving some of these guys chances with all the holes you have. But you don't have that luxury right now.
Yeah, and they've had top 5 systems, to your point, that haven't benefited them at the big league roster. You could almost argue like, okay, so do you want to trade Cease away and upgrade your system? I don't.
I want to trade Cease away and help the big league club if that's the case.
It's like, okay, yeah, you trade Cease, guess what? Your system will be ranked higher than 26. But to what end? Your big league team isn't as good. Do we want to go from 26 to 16 in the prospect rankings? Or do you want to go from 93 wins to 94 wins in the major leagues or 88 to 89? You know what I mean? Like
back in the day before you got here, that was all the talking point is they would be so happy and proud and promote constantly how they had the number 1 farm system in baseball. The major league product.
That was not before. I mean, that was how it was in 2016, 2017.
Were you here for that?
I was here for that.
Okay, you were here for that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was a time, remember this talking point that basically every team that had ever had the number 1 system at Baseball America would reach a World Series within 3 years. Remember, because there was the Houston, Kansas City. There was this cycle of like within 3 years, you're going to the Chicago Cubs did it with the top system. Kansas City did it. So Padres are going to reach a World Series. Now they didn't. And we were talking in 2017. They were nowhere close in 2019.
Right.
They got closer with the 2020s, no doubt about it. But for all that top system, I mean, if you're a White Sox fan, are you overly confident with your number 1 system you're getting to a World Series next 3 years? I wouldn't be.
Dude, no.
You got no chance in hell of getting to a World Series next 3 years if you're the White Sox. So anyway, 26th best system. I'm not going to freak out about it because I'm more concerned about them getting to the postseason in the major leagues this year.
What does concern me with having that low of a ranked system is, can Preller make the necessary moves in trades that's needed for this team potentially at the deadline this year and before the season starts to make this team better?
Sure.
If you have a top 10 system, which Preller has had before in his past, he has most of the time used the system to trade for some really good major league talent. Can he do that now with a 26th ranked system?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. All right. On the other side, there is an article about everything you need to know about the Royal Rumble, even if you're not a wrestling fan.
So this is perfect for you.
Because I am not a wrestling fan, believe it or not.
It's like wrestling for dummies. I'm going to explain everything that's going to happen tomorrow night.
Explain it to me like I'm a non-wrestling fan.
Exactly.
All right. And I might have some feedback on it as well.
John learns about the Royal Rumble.
Stay tuned. Plus, still ahead, Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network at 5:30. Chris Hodge taking Vegas. Free picks at 4:30. It's Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Lowe's. We'll start with the Padres. Some good news today. They avoided arbitration with Michael King, agreeing to a 1-year deal. They also have an option for the 2026 season for $15 million. And San Diego State takes on Wyoming tomorrow night, 5 p.m. tip, 4 p.m. pregame. You can listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. Download the Lowe's app to get their home improvement playbook in your hands so you can get their team's expertise anytime.
All right, good reminder, you can keep up with San Diego Sports 760 anytime, anywhere. Whether you're stepping out of the car, settling in at home, just ask your Google or Alexa smart speaker, play AM 760, or stream it live through the iHeartRadio app. It's never been easier to stay connected with your favorite shows like this one, Jon and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 goes where you go. And again, Aztecs basketball tomorrow at 5. Pregame coverage begins at 4. All right, so as I've been telling people, the Royal Rumble is this weekend. It will be conducted in America. And the winner will be the Royal Rumble champion.
Close. So the Royal Rumble is tomorrow night in Indianapolis.
One night?
One night only.
Yes. Okay, hold on real quick. Is there one person standing at the end?
Yes. The premise is whoever
one male,
wins,
one female, maybe?
Whoever wins the male and the female's Royal Rumble will then be headlining WrestleMania. They will be given an opportunity to face the champion of their choice.
So like Hulk Hogan?
Not quite.
Who's the champion of their choice?
Well, as of this moment, it's Cody Rhodes and Gunther for the male side. And the female side is Tiffany Stratton and Rhea Ripley.
Do the men ever wrestle the women?
They used to.
Not anymore.
Okay. Not anymore.
WWE doesn't do intergender matches,
which is smart
anymore.
because that would not be good.
Well, other promotions still do.
I didn't know. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So what do you want to tell me about? I basically have it figured out. There's one winner that's a man. There's one woman.
All right, here we go.
Woman.
Here is the Dummy's Guide to the Royal Rumble for people
Don't call me a dummy.
No, it's like, you don't know what's going on. What is the Royal Rumble?
Wrestling.
If you made it far in this far in this article, you likely already know. But just in case, here's a quick refresher. First launched in 1988, the Royal Rumble is an annual event named after the show's signature match. The Royal Rumble match starts with 2 competitors in the ring, with additional entrants being added every 90 seconds to 2 minutes, and eliminations occurring when wrestlers are thrown over the top rope and both feet must touch the floor. The match traditionally consists of 30 entrants in total, with the last remaining wrestler receiving a championship match of his or her choice at the WWE's biggest show of the year, WrestleMania.
So are you telling me that a new wrestler comes in every minute or two, but that doesn't mean every minute or two someone is thrown out? So there could be like 12 wrestlers in the ring, or there could be like 2.
Yes.
Yeah, there could be a lot of there. But the only way that you
they all come out at random.
Okay.
So you don't know who's going to come out.
Okay.
And they always have surprise
So I don't know
people.
my order of wrestlers.
No.
Do I know the 30 that will come out, or could there be some big surprise?
Yes, but there's usually surprises. Yes.
We know some.
Give me some Undertaker.
All right. So for the men's Royal Rumble match, who's in it, you might ask?
Yeah, I am.
A total of 30 competitors, including but not limited to John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso will be in the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
What's the storyline, you might say?
Win.
Like every Royal Rumble match, this year's includes the overarching storyline of the wrestlers vying for a championship match in the main event at WrestleMania, with several smaller subplots within. First, John Cena is kicking off his retirement tour and vying for what would be a record-breaking 17th World Championship, while Roman Reigns is looking to recapture the title he lost in last year's WrestleMania main event. After missing last year's WrestleMania due to injury, CM Punk is trying to main event WrestleMania for the first time in his career.
Wow.
With rivals Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre trying to stop him. While the build to WrestleMania can often be clunky, WWE has done a masterful job weaving together this year's storylines in ways that fits the larger context of the match.
Hold on. Time out. Is winning Royal Rumble like winning Daytona?
No, because if you won Daytona,
That's WrestleMania.
yeah,
But Daytona is the first race of the year.
yeah, but this is the first big PLE of the year. I get that.
Excuse me?
Premium live event.
You can't do a dummies and then
If-
whip PLE out on me.
If you're gonna look at it through like the
lens of, like,
spectrum
other
of like a
sports.
sports season, we're 3/4 the way. The WrestleMania ends the season.
Okay.
So
So this is like a golf major?
It's the Super Bowl. WrestleMania is.
So
no, golf major is a good way to look at it.
is this a golf
yes.
major then? Is
Yes.
this the PGA?
Sure. But here's the thing.
Yeah, because there's only
yeah.
4 big
There's a-
ones over the year.
What are the other what are the big wrestling events other than Royal Rumble and WrestleMania?
Survivor Series,
And what else?
SummerSlam,
SummerSlam. Yeah.
WrestleMania, Survivor Series.
Royal
And
Rumble.
they have a bunch of other stuff
Okay.
mixed in there.
They
as
have the
well.
big 4.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
do you kind of understand a little bit what's going on here?
I don't get the hey, I won it. Now I get to like I get to go to WrestleMania to take on the champion of my choice.
You don't understand that?
No, I
Because-
feel like
because
that's not
there's-
like a bracket.
So
Because there's 2 shows. Each show has a champion.
Oh, that's
So if you win the
yeah,
Rumble,
that makes sense.
you get to choose if you want to fight this champion or
That makes sense.
which one you get to fight.
and there's a bunch of different storylines attached. So when you think about who might win, you have to look at a storyline and then it makes more sense.
What else is happening? Are they going to do anything else this night?
Yeah, they're gonna have the women's Royal Rumble as well.
Is it inside or outside?
It's
Oh,
inside.
winter, so it's inside.
Yeah, it's in Indy, so it's supposed to be 65,000.
Okay, so
there.
it's at the Dome. Okay.
Yeah, it's a huge event. So they got the women's Royal Rumble tomorrow, which is the same concept, just with the women.
It's the same day, women and men.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the men's Royal Rumble. I mean, these things could go on for like an hour and a half. And then they got the title ladder match between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens.
Now, ladder match being
You have to climb the ladder to get the championship belts that are hanging above the ring.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah. They dangle the belt up in the air
That's
and then
kinda
you got to climb up to go get it. And
Now-
you're allowed to beat the crap out of each other with the ladders.
Will these ever be at the sports arena?
No.
Not WrestleMania or
I mean, if we had an NFL stadium here, we could have a WrestleMania, but we don't. So
NFL. Let's just build a stadium. That's a great
That's a
idea.
good
That's
idea.
such a
I
good
like that.
idea.
Oh,
We should have
let's
the
do it.
NFL here.
that was
It's
one of
so
the things
fun.
that
Yeah,
was
they were gonna right. That was a
talked
carrot.
about,
Yeah, you'll get
like-
WrestleMania. Yeah.
man. If you had an NFL stadium,
So let
here,
me get this straight. By not having an NFL stadium, we're losing out on every 5th Super Bowl and every 5th WrestleMania.
not every 5th WrestleMania,
But every
but
10th.
potential WrestleManias that
Yeah.
would bring in millions
All
and
these
hundreds
money,
of
yeah.
millions of dollars of money into the economy. of San
Awesome.
Diego. Great. Everything's great.
Sports arena.
But they do have WWE events here in San Diego.
Well, have you been getting these ads
What?
for something in Oceanside, but it wasn't WWE?
Oh, that's AEW.
Okay,
Guys, remember
yeah.
when we had Mark
I didn't see
Henry
that.
in studio that one
Yeah,
time?
yeah, yeah.
That's them.
They're
That's
coming
AEW.
Oceanside.
Yeah, they're Oceanside.
That's like
Not the same. Is it AAA?
it's not the minor leagues, but it's
Not the same.
it's a big step down.
Okay.
Big step down.
Okay. So what else? Anything else I need to know? Because I'm not watching.
I know you
Tell
are.
me who wins.
Okay. You know what the funny thing is? I won't be watching either
Why?
because that's when I go to dinner tomorrow night.
For your dinner.
Yeah. So
You're
what I'm going to do is I'm not going to watch it until I get home.
So you can tape it because you just buy it. You're buying this?
No, it's on Peacock. So you have to
Okay, yeah,
buy
it's on Peacock.
Peacock and you just,
But you won't
Yeah.
know. You'll stay away from your phone. This is the type of thing you would stay away from to.
for this one, yeah, I think I'm going to.
Okay, you'll go home. You'll stay away from the phone. You'll turn it on and watch the thing in its entirety.
Yeah.
That's a good plan. If
Might,
you're not for
might
your
fast forward a little
birthday-
bit to the
Yeah.
middle of it because there's a lot of
Yeah,
stuff that
some
happens in
stuff,
the
yeah.
middle. You're like, whatever.
Right.
But the ending is like the biggest part, and there's a bunch of wrestlers that could win it this year. So what makes it exciting is the unknown. You don't know who's going to win it. There's like a lot of people could theoretically win it. Usually, there's a lot of years where like, okay, this guy's winning it for
Right.
sure, or this woman's winning
Is
it
there
for sure.
ever like a complete out of left field?
Oh, yeah.
Like like the 29th guy you'd pick out of 30 ends up winning it.
No, not
Maybe
the
not
out of left
that low.
field.
Yeah.
Never, not like that. It's usually one of the main stars.
Right.
Not some rando.
Yeah, complete random. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Like, what?
This is unbelievable.
But it is fun because you just it's predetermined
Of
beforehand,
course. Yeah.
and they know who's going to win.
Yeah.
because they got to get the spots and everything ready to go. But as a fan, this year going into it, I have no clue.
So I have one more question.
Okay. You're like, can we stop talking about this?
No. Because once we're into it, I don't really. This is on Peacock. WrestleMania would be on Peacock?
Correct. Eventually, they're trying to get this thing to Netflix.
Netflix has the Monday shows.
Yeah.
Raw.
It's a lot.
And something else is on Thursday.
On USA.
It's a lot. But then again, the NFL's the same way. CBS has something. ESPN has something.
I think they're on their last year with Peacock, and
Gotcha.
everything's going to start to transition all over to Netflix.
Okay.
So,
all right, I won't be watching. But I mean, am I intrigued? No, not necessarily. But I get it. Basically, I feel like the reason people are enamored with it is it's like it's any good drama.
Yes.
It's like a storyline. You're following a show. It's As the World Turns for men.
It's a soap opera, but it's wrestling.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been to a wrestling event, things are predetermined. But you know what is absolutely 100% real? The like throwing people around the ring part and jumping off the top rope part and hitting someone with a chair over the back part.
Right.
Like those are real moments that really hurt. So,
like legitimately.
Yeah. So
No,
the storyline and all that stuff and all that, like it's just good drama. And so, the WrestleMania is this year in Las Vegas
at Allegiant.
Yeah.
When? What time of year? Summer?
April-ish.
We should go. Let's get credentialed.
You got $20,000 to spend?
I don't. Then I'm not going to go.
Yeah,
we don't have to go this year.
No,
maybe another year.
Let's not go.
All right. On the other side, back to Michael King coming to terms with the Padres, plus the wrap at 4 p.m. Plus Chris Hodge taking Vegas as free picks for our listeners at 4:30. Now we're all ready to go for the Royal Rumble on Peacock tomorrow night. This is Jon and Jim. hear from whom? Jim. Mike McCann? Is that who it is? This sports legal guy?
Correct.
Is
John.
it Mike McCann?
Let me just pull this up here.
It's great.
Yeah, Michael McCann.
All right. So Michael McCann is a lawyer that covers like sports legal issues, right?
Correct.
And he was on with our friend of the show, Kyle Glazer, on his new podcast.
Who he made he's doing a Padres podcast as well. Everyone has a Padres podcast.
Yeah, must be nice.
It's great.
So
like how many Padres podcasts are in this town?
So put it in the chat.
Wait, hold on. Let's count this.
You want to count them
count
off?
it,
You want to count them off? Well, let's go one for one, and you start.
Okay, I'll start.
Yeah.
All right. Talking Friars.
Wrap up show.
Friar, the new Friar podcast that
with Kyle Glazer.
Kyle Glazer, yeah.
Okay, so that's 3. The post game show that nobody asked for, Divine Sports Gospel.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
there you
podcast,
go.
Right?
Yeah.
4.
The On Friar podcast.
On Friar. Okay, I'll give you 6th. Hog.
I don't know if he does it.
Whatever.
Anymore.
Hog.
Yeah.
Hog Watch.
Sure.
We're naming Padres podcast.
Do shows count as podcasts?
Well, no, not really.
Okay.
Not radio shows. No.
No.
We're missing a lot.
There's like there's another one that's I know there's at least one more that I'm forgetting.
No, there's way more than one more. There's 5 more. Easy. Because we see them.
Yeah.
There's the true podcast. It's only audio. There's some that are only video.
Right.
I mean, Coach is doing one. Seriously.
Oh yeah, Coach. Yeah.
Coach is doing one. Okay, there's 7.
7.
I mean, there's a lot around. There's a lot.
I think Darren's doing something now.
Okay, there we go.
Marty has her own. Well, she's not really a podcast. It's more or less
channel.
Channel.
Yeah. I mean, there's 15.
There's
15.
Close to 15.
Anyway, but Kyle Glazer now has one of them.
Yes.
And do we have the sound, Brent? Or are we going to play? Okay, we have the sound. So set it up, Jim. The sound we're about to hear.
So Michael McCann talking about the lawsuit today with Kyle Glazer and what he believes the lawsuit is really about.
Okay.
You know, two sides that hate each other in court filing sometimes find a resolution because they tire of litigation, or because if at the end of the day this is about paying someone compensation, that that often provides the lawyers an ultimate strategy that it will be resolved by settlement. If I had to guess, and that's the most likely outcome in cases like this and civil litigation in general, is that it ultimately ends with a deal.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. In your experience, how often do cases such as this end up in a settlement as opposed to going to trial? Usually
it's settlement. It's a little different here because the parties have a lot of money, and normally, for the rest of us, hiring lawyers to litigate for a long time can be expensive. So that at some point, the two sides decide, let's just work something out. And if in fact this is really just about money, I know it's sort of dressed as both sides have offered arguments to suggest it's more than money. Certainly control of the Padres is part of it. Yeah. But if we read between the lines, it looks like there's a disagreement about how much money should be passed to different people. And if that's the real heart of it, then my guess is they'll figure out a resolution at some point.
Okay.
We had recently come to the conclusion, Jim, that there were 2 likely outcomes: settlement or sale.
Right.
And this is one of them, which is the settlement. Of course, money is of course, money is at the crux of it. You're talking about $1 billion franchise, more than that.
$2 billion.
Yeah. So of course, money has to play a significant role in the reason why there's litigation. I mean, how could it not? Yeah, maybe influence and power as well, but of course, money is a big part of it. But I mean, the settlement thing has always made sense. I mean, it has always made sense that if she was cut out, I'm talking about Sheil Seidler, it's not necessarily that she has to end up with full control of the franchise, but maybe she ends up with just a percentage of the franchise or some more funds as a result of, filing this litigation.
It would be a real about face from Sheil if this whole time it was about, just money. I know money's a factor in this, but if it's only about that,
she will never say that.
The way that she has presented herself and the way that fans view her, and maybe rightfully so, like how much she loves this organization, which I'm not doubting at all.
Right.
How she has really put out there how much she cares about the fans, which again, I'm not doubting at all.
I don't doubt that.
To in the end,
settle
and go away.
Well, sometimes what other options do you have? If you're if she isn't the rightful chairman, if there's some document that says the Seidler brothers are in charge, there's a trust, MLB has it. If you're not the rightful chairman, what are you going to do? You're going to kick and scream? You know, like what other option do you have if you're Sheil Seidler other than to, yeah, you're right. You could not settle.
You could fight this thing
all the way through, but you could lose.
But you'd be spending a lot of money on lawyers and
to come up with what? Potentially nothing.
I know.
So if you settle, then I kind of agree with Michael McCann. If you settle, ultimately, isn't it about money? Why would you settle? To your point, like, what's the point of settling if you truly want control of the San Diego Padres?
Because in the Seidler Bros' newest lawsuit, they in there mention how Sheil recently added to her social media accounts. And I remember I told you this.
Like chairman or owner?
Was this there before?
Yeah. What did she say?
In her bios, in her X account and her Instagram account, she says owner of the San Diego Padres.
Right.
So for her to have that and fighting as much as she is now and her whole entire, I guess, cause that if you don't break down all the legal jumbo mumbo stuff that Michael McCann does, is she's doing this to become the control person of the Padres to then just turn around and settle and go away and never be heard from again. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting conversation. I mean, I guess he's getting to the ultimate motivation. Is Sheil's motivation money, or is her motivation to control the San Diego Padres? Big difference. Because if your motivation is money, you're going to settle. If your motivation is ultimately to be the chairperson of the San Diego Padres, you won't.
And this isn't a legal matter, but this has brought to light the motivation of the Seidler brothers. What is their motivation with the Padres if and when they become the control, I guess, trio, even though Jon will be the control person.
You're right. It is a trio because, there's one person, but the trust is going to make these determinations.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is their intentions? What are their true intentions when and if this thing lands on their side?
I mean, is it to make it financially feasible? Is it to ultimately spin off? Is it, I mean, there's so many possibilities there. Is it to keep a payroll to number? Is it to sell the team? I mean, is it to sell minority ownership? Right?
Yeah. If nothing else, this lawsuit from Sheil brought to light a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That before wasn't talked about enough. We were talking about it a little bit with Jon. Who is this guy?
Jon Seidler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as hit the fan with Sheil's lawsuit, responding to the Seidler brothers, I don't think it was a lawsuit. It was, what is it called? An auto.
Who was responding to what?
Because in December, the Seidler brothers sent something to Sheil. I forget what it was.
Yeah, I forget too. I know what you're going to say.
And then Sheil countered with this lawsuit.
With the lawsuit, right.
Right.
So what they did was kind of behind the scenes, right? And then what she did was make it public.
Correct.
With the litigation.
Correct.
That Sportico reported on.
Yeah. So this whole thing started with the Seidler brothers.
Yeah, something about maybe, was it actually technically Jim called like an arbitration? Was it something about arbitration?
Yes.
Even though it's not baseball arbitration.
But it had to do with
like cutting her out or moving some of her shares or lowering her equity in the franchise or something.
It had to do with money.
Yeah, it had to do with money. Yeah.
And so because of that, that was the first step in this whole process was because of the Seidler bros. I see a lot of people out there saying that Sheil was on the offense first. Kind of feels like she was on the defense here.
That's a good point.
After what the arbitration that was sent to her by the Seidler brothers in December. And this lawsuit was her going on the offense because she was in defense of herself.
I mean, at the end of the day, would I be surprised if this was about money? No, of course not. Because, I mean, we're talking about crazy amounts of money potentially on the line. But with all that being said, maybe it's about more than money. Maybe she does believe she will be the rightful chairperson at some point when this is all said and done. We'll get to the wrap on the other side. Chris Hodge taking Vegas will join us at 4:30. At 5:30, Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network is on the show. We're here until 6. It's Jon and Jim. Don't go anywhere.
This update is brought to you by Lowe's. We'll start with the Padres. They avoided arbitration today with Michael King agreeing to a 1-year deal with an option for the 2026 season. San Diego State takes on Wyoming tomorrow night, 5 p.m. tip, 4 p.m. pregame. You can listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. Download the Lowe's app to get their home improvement playbook in your hands so you can get their team's expertise anytime.
Previously on Jon and Jim.
Over under a half game that I attend this year.
I mean, that's such an easy bet. You're not going to go Saturday. Oh, Aaron's got a friend in town. We're going to go pick tulips from the Tulip Center. There's going to be like 2 midweek games. You're like, nah, I can't go. I got to pick up dinner. And then there's like 2 weekend games. You're like, no, I can't go. Aaron's friend's in town.
How about the last game of the year?
Senior night.
San Diego State versus Nevada, 7:30 Saturday night.
You're okay? Are you going to go?
Yeah, March 8th.
All right, we'll remind you.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 3, Jon and Jim, Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network coming up at 5:30. Chris Hodge taking Vegas. He is scorching hot with his picks for our listeners. He'll join us coming up at 4:30. We have Creed tickets to give away this hour. We have Aztec basketball tomorrow as well, right here on San Diego Sports 760 at 5. Pre-game coverage will begin at 4. Remember how we partnered last year with Sons of Montezuma and the Mesa Foundation on a Catapult U t-shirt?
Yeah.
We've done it again.
Yes, we have.
So check our Twitter. Do we have Twitter? Is it X?
Twitter, formerly known, or X, formerly known as Twitter, whatever you want to call it.
If you're an Aztec fan, you know I've been doing this like shtick with Catapult U. Do you know what that stems from?
Yeah, they moved up by like 30 spots one year, and you're like, they catapulted all the way here.
No, yes, kind of, but they went up one night like 3 years ago. Like, I'm making up 5 spots. It went from like 40 to 35, right? So they catapulted. I just randomly put it. And some guy at the Mountain West Wire, some like XF's like, that's not a catapult. They only went up 5 spots. I'm like, relax, bud. So it all stemmed from that. I've just basically been making fun of him for the last 3 years, but it kind of caught on. And I think they sold over 100 shirts last year. And all those proceeds went to Mesa Foundation. And there's a new shirt for 2025, and you can see it on our X feed at Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. I'll actually put it in our YouTube chat right now as well. But if you want to support the Mesa Foundation, check it out. Pick up a T-shirt. If you're an Aztec fan, those are available right now. Jon and Jim, Sons of Montezuma, Mesa Foundation, I don't know, collective initiative together.
Love it.
Love it. Okay, so at 4:30, Chris Hodge, let's get to this right now.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Is tomorrow a must-win game for the Aztecs?
What's the net ranking for them?
For Wyoming?
Yeah.
Not great. In the 180s?
Yeah, must win.
Must win, right?
Yeah, you can't lose to Wyoming, but you can't lose them when you're playing them at home even more.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. They're 181. Now, to put in perspective, the team we just saw, 3 nights ago, San Jose State, is 168. So that's close. 181, 168. I mean, they're pretty close, right? Metrically. And San Jose State gave the Aztecs all they could handle. I mean, literally all they could handle. Wyoming also has like Steph Curry on his team. I told Jim off air. This guy, Obi Agbum, he averages over 18 points per game.
Oh, great.
D2 transfer. It makes tough shots. Tough shot maker. So am I worried? I'm worried about the sky falling.
That's like a pretty big worry, though.
I worry about everything.
You worried about the sky falling?
I mean, like Chicken Little stuff. You know, don't I worry about everything?
Yes, you do.
Like, I'll like text you like, do you think we can use that like word in that tweet? And you're like, dude, relax. We're fine.
Like, calm down.
Right? I'm like, do you think I could say whatever I said yesterday on air? And you're like, no. Can't say that.
Tomatoes.
Right. It's a must-win game for San Diego State. It could be a good game. I'd like to see San Diego State play well for 40 minutes and just, pick up a 15-point win. Just play well for 40 minutes, win by 15 points, and go from there. Next question.
Who's going to have a better season next year, Michael King or Dylan Cease?
Well, I hope it's Dylan Cease, because if not, him flipping burgers at Jack in the Box will be...
Was it Cease or King that was doing it?
It was
today?
Cease.
Okay.
King wasn't there.
Okay.
King, I don't think, is going to be here tomorrow. Maybe he is.
Well, he is in town. He is here.
I didn't see him at. Maybe I
think they did split up, by the way.
Also, do you see Dylan Cease? He's rocking
Let me see.
Oh, he hasn't shaved since I think the end of the season.
If you have it. Do you say full beard? Because he was always going with that mustache. He's going full beard.
Full beard.
Let me see. Not that our listeners can see. Yeah, you're not kidding. He actually has not shaved since the end of the season because you don't grow a beard that's like a 6-month beard, right?
That's a big boy beard.
He looks like a
lumberjack.
Lumberjack. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway,
what was the question?
Who have a better year, Cease or King? I said it better be Cease, because if not, those memes are going to be popping out of left and right.
I hope it's whoever's here.
Same. If Michael King stays, I hope it's Michael King, obviously. And if Dylan Cease stays, I hope it's Dylan Cease. But if they both stay, I think that would be a question to answer. I think I would choose Dylan Cease because the upside of Dylan Cease, I think, is higher than the upside of Michael King.
Yeah, I think Cease at his best is among the best pitchers in the sport. I think Michael King, is probably a top 15 caliber pitcher too. But I'm with you. If they're both here, I would expect Cease to maybe have a better year. Although you could argue last year King had the better year than Cease, right? 2.95 ERA.
Yeah, King had a better year.
Yeah, so it'll be close. Hopefully they're both comparable to last year, even a tick better, and that's good news for the Padres. Next question.
Who's going to win the Pro Bowl games?
That's a good question.
Not the viewing audience.
Do you like the AFC or the NFC?
I like the AFC.
Do you? Even in flag?
Sure, they have a better quarterback. Joe Burrow. I don't know.
How good are these guys at flag football? Like, unbelievable?
Why would they be bad?
They must be amazing. Isn't there going to be flag football in the Olympics?
I think so.
We should smoke everyone. We should not be in any
remember
game.
that one guy got in the news because he tried saying he was better at Patrick Mahomes
that was
at
right.
flag football.
Like, we should smoke Czechoslovakia, right?
Yes.
We should be beating everyone bad.
Yeah, Australia.
Yeah,
you guys, bye. Done.
Goodbye. Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. You're not beating us. UK. I'm sorry. Who's getting the silver?
Yeah, sorry, Canada.
Yeah, no, you're not beating us. If we don't win that, then then what are we even doing?
Full
yeah. Now NBA's become global, right?
Yes.
There's great players all over the world, but we shouldn't be losing a true American football, flag football medal competition. You like the AFC?
I do.
Who's starting at quarterback? Burrow?
Joe Burrow. Side note, did you hear the stupid conversation this morning on ESPN about Chris Canty, his name is?
Yeah, about what?
Said Joe Burrow is not quote unquote elite. Then I saw Daniel Jeremiah post okay, that's enough. We're done with is that elite conversation.
He had the best passing year of anyone, didn't he?
How can I make this about me?
He's already been to the Super Bowl.
Chris Canty said this morning when he woke up.
He's already elite.
Yeah, he's obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
I'm with you. I'll take the AFC -3 in the flag football game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Next question.
Who's going to win the Royal Rumble?
Hey, John.
Well, I'm going to look up the participant.
I'm going to say CM Punk, just because I think there's momentum for him, and the storyline sets up for CM Punk to win the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
John's like the 1, 2, 3 kid.
No.
He could be a surprise entry. He's still alive.
Yokozuna's not alive.
I think Penta.
Okay.
Or Shinsaki Nakamura.
How do you say his name?
Or Braun Breaker. What about Braun Breaker?
That's funny how you say that. He's the Intercontinental Champion. No, he's not winning.
Or the Los Angeles Knight.
The Los Angeles Knight. It's actually LA Knight, but good guess.
And then
the Los Angeles Knight.
Livy Dunn in the female one.
Who?
Liv Dunn.
Liv Morgan?
Correct.
You named up 7 different wrestlers.
So if any of them are right, tag it. If I'm right, could I win? Did I mention anyone of relevance?
You mentioned relevant people, but nobody.
None of them are going to win. Yeah.
I like Penta a lot, but no, he's not winning.
He just got there.
What about
I like a lot, not winning.
No.
Jey Uso.
I like him a lot, not winning.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn?
Whatever, dude. I don't know.
You could just do a whole segment of you just trying to read wrestler names.
Carmelo Hayes.
No.
He said it right, though.
Yeah, good job. Got anybody else?
There's just randos in here.
Well, yeah, for you. Tim, give me the name. Give me read names.
Seth Rollins. What is he, a shortstop for the Phillies? Who is this guy?
he could win, but he won't.
So who's going to win? It's down to who? Who are the 3 people that are realistically winning?
CM Punk, John Cena, and Roman Reigns.
One of those 3 will win.
I think so, yes.
Okay. Not Sami Zayn.
No.
Or the Los Angeles Knight.
The Los Angeles Knight.
So dumb.
I don't know. It's been their year.
It's been
the LA Knights.
This is ridiculous.
Oh, my God.
All right. That was the wrap. Let me know who wins.
I will. I'm going to send you videos nonstop.
Send me video. I don't need video. I mean,
and then you'll respond.
I have Peacock.
Then watch it for 2 seconds. And then I know you're going to be, okay, this is stupid, and watch I don't know, Boise State versus Hawaii.
Well, I'm going to turn on Peacock and then I'm going to see Marquette, Georgetown. Oh, Marquette, Georgetown is live right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's great.
So no, I'll throw it on. What time's it start? Like 5 o'clock Pacific.
4.
It's early start time.
4, but we don't.
Oh, but the Aztecs.
Yeah, but we don't know what time the actual Rumble part starts.
Don't text me because I'll watch it when I get home from the Aztecs game.
No, you won't.
I won't watch it when I get home.
No.
All right.
I'm hoping they'll just save the men's Rumble for last, so then the Aztec game will be done.
Well, wouldn't that be is that how this is typically done, or they vary it up?
They vary it. Sometimes they switch it up.
Okay. Well, people are going to be watching. I will be at Viejas. Everyone's going to be at Viejas tomorrow, by the way.
Everybody?
Ben Fletcher's there with his wife, I think family. We have friends that are going to be there. Kristen's going to be there with Jones. Yeah.
Must be
and
nice.
You're going out to your
It's great.
championship dinner or whatever you're doing.
My birthday dinner with my wife?
Oh, yeah, whatever.
My championship dinner.
But your actual birthday is Wednesday.
Yes.
And the champion of another year of living.
Is Aaron getting now? Is that the present? It's a really nice dinner. It's an expensive restaurant. That's the present, or is there something else potentially?
So last week, she texted me before I get home. She said, "Hey, can you go to the front to see if a package came?"
Okay. Okay. When you get home, check for a package.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure."
Yeah.
So I go to the front and I pick up. I see a package there for Aaron Russell.
Yeah.
I pick it up, and it's a melon hat box.
And you love melon hats, right?
Yeah, love melon hats. I bring it inside. Aaron goes, "Oh,
why'd I have you pick that up?
I didn't realize that the box would say what it is."
Oh, that's user error. That's Aaron's bad, right?
Kind of.
Come on.
Yeah. But she.
So now, she's gotten you a hat or two.
I know there's a hat that I will be getting. Yes.
You do like those hats,
dude.
Those are nice hats.
I used to not think that they were good hats because of like the shape
quality.
of them. I wanted the shape to be more formed to my head.
Yeah. Because like higher, right?
Yeah. And then I bought one because I just really want them. They're very expensive.
Yeah.
But the quality is elite. And so I bought one, and it's like the greatest hat ever. I love it. I love melon hats. They're so nice. They're so durable. I like the quality of it.
Melon, email us.
Yeah.
Work together.
So there you go.
So you got a melon hat for your birthday, but she hasn't shown it to you.
No, I don't know what she got me
next week.
Even though I have sent her in the past, like she asked me, "Hey, what would you want?"
Yeah.
And I sent her a melon hat. But yeah, so that's one thing. And then the dinner tomorrow night.
This dinner's not gonna be cheap.
I'm not gonna let her pay for it.
What?
No, I know it's my birthday, but I'm not gonna let her.
What's the name of it again?
Jeanette Jolie. Did I spell that?
No.
It's in Oceanside.
I know.
Okay. Is that Angelina's sister or something?
Okay,
no,
it's not cheap.
It's a French.
What do you mean you're not letting her pay for it?
No, because that's like a $300, $400 meal.
$400?
Yeah.
Then why are we going?
Because we're splurging.
Okay. Dinner. Their menu's not even in English.
We didn't do anything for Christmas. We didn't buy each other any presents for Christmas. Well, we bought some presents.
You know a place is expensive when they put their menu online without pricing.
No, there is prices on there.
Oh, is there?
Because what you're looking at is the set menu.
You're right.
Per person. Right. So per person's 4 courses.
How much?
With
$120.
With amuse-bouches in between all the courses.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like little tiny one bite stuff.
$120 a person plus wine pairing.
Well, you don't have to do the wine pairing.
Are you going to?
No. Bro.
Oh my gosh. I can't even deal with this. All right. Let's get you ready for the Aztecs tomorrow night. What's on the line for San Diego State? Plus, Chris Hodge joins us at 4:30. He's got free picks for you coming up. Stay with us. right, San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances to win $1,000 every weekday with the Grand in Your Hand cash contest. That's every hour, 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Listen for the keyword at the top of every hour, then enter it at sportssd.com. We have Chris Hodge joining us. He's been red hot. He will have free picks for you coming up in about 10 minutes. Then Cynthia Freeland, the bye week. What's your opinion on the bye week before the Super Bowl? It's always quiet, some build up, ramp up. It feels really quiet this week.
I hate it.
It does. Yeah. But here in San Diego, I mean, we're not living and dying. We're not living and dying and beholden on having to talk about an NFL team and that being the number one topic in town.
Right.
So we're not sitting here being like, why don't we do? Like, the Padres have given us enough content this week,
no doubt,
to talk about. But I do think that it does kind of drag out. Like, once we get to Wednesday next week, all the storylines will already be talked about multiple times.
Yeah.
There's not too many huge storylines here, other than, like controversial storylines.
Are you ready though for like the crazy prop bets that we get middle of next week?
Yeah,
Will Saquon Barkley have more yardage than Taylor Swift has songs in this album?
Oh, you're damn right. We're going to be talking about those prop bets next week.
Right.
Yeah.
The length of the anthem and stuff.
Yeah, that'll be the whole show.
Yeah, people are like, oh, there's not many storylines, Jim. There's a lot. Yes, there's a lot, but not the controversial ones to talk about over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I just feel like taking that week off, it just kills the momentum of the season. You could come off of like the greatest conference championship game ever, and then you just make us go 2 weeks without football, because I'm not counting them playing flag football and that crap they're doing this weekend. I wish they didn't have the week off. I wish they'd just keep going.
There was a year, we could look this up, the last time they didn't take the bye. I think it was the Jacksonville Super Bowl, Eagles Patriots. Someone could look it up. That might be incorrect, but there have been years previously without the bye, but over the last 15 or 20 years, they've had the bye. I mean, here's the thing. To play in a championship game and then play 7 days later, you say, well, they do it all year long, but everything that goes into it. Everyone's asking for tickets. You got family and friends. You got the travel. You have the media days that are built in. So to do it 7 days later, I just feel like it's probably a bridge too far.
For me, it's kind of similar to the way before the college football playoff would be when, college football season ends now. Now you have to wait a month, maybe a month and a half before you get another game. It's just it
can be a while.
It just takes so long to where it kills the momentum. I think.
The college football playoff, it's in its first year. Did you feel the same excitement when we got to the national championship game that you felt when the playoffs first started?
I didn't, and I love college football, and I liked the playoff. I'd probably make some changes. I don't know exactly what I would do. I liked the on-campus games. Mm-hmm. I think I would make the quarterfinal round also on campus. So I'd go from first round on campus to quarterfinal on campus to semifinals at bowl sites to a national championship game. But I'm with you. Like, the amount of time between games was extended more than even like the National Football League.
The national championship game was damn near end of January.
Yeah, I know.
Imagine someone 25 years ago, you tell them, hey, the national championship game is going to be on January 20th.
When they used to, everything was on like New Year's Day or before. And by the way, in the future, they just announced one of the championship games in Vegas coming up is going to be January 25th in a year or two. So, yeah, they have some tweaking there. And someone also brought up the point that national championship game, you have these huge brands, Ohio State and Notre Dame. It's watched by 20 million or so, a lot of people. But then you see like an AFC title game. AFC title game doubled up Ohio State, Notre Dame. It's
damn near 60 million people.
Yeah, that's just insanity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the college football playoff probably could use some tweaking. It's never going to be the NFL. But then again, college football is the second most popular sport in the country based on TV viewership. Because there's not 20 million people watching the NBA Western Conference Finals.
No, not
game by game, right?
Close. Yeah. Well, the first thing you have to do is fix the seating issue.
Yeah, the seating was bad. Yeah.
You fix the seating issue. There's number one. Number two, timing of things you could tweak, making it start maybe not at the very end of December. Like, you could still get the New Year's Six bowl games as the quarterfinals, right?
You could. Yeah. You could.
But then you got to move stuff up.
Yeah, what are we waiting for, to Brent's point, all of December? Like, what are we doing? Like, move it up 10 days.
I do think that the timing of when New Year's was, like it was on a random Wednesday.
Yeah.
So you have to wait a week and a half
To get there. Yeah.
to get to the next round, where some years it will be a week.
Right.
Hopefully. Because New Year's Day will land on next year Thursday. Because it was on Wednesday.
I think that's right.
And then and Friday and Saturday and so forth. So then you'll get the traditional like Saturday, New Year's Day games then, and then the following week you have enough time to prepare instead of having it be a week and a half.
Do you think if we fast forward 10 years, the NFL playoff looks identical? 14 teams.
Dude, I hope
you know what
not.
I mean? Like, are we going to 16 and Wild Card Tuesday? And
I hope not, because that would mean at least 2 teams in each conference would make it at like a 9-8 record.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
who knows, maybe in 10, 15 years, there's 20 NFL games in the regular season. So then you're going to have like
Maybe
a 10 and 10 football team in there.
I mean, maybe there's more teams because it's just such a cash cow, and they add 2 or 4 more teams at $2 billion a pop.
That'd be stupid.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I liked how it used to be, the 2-bye system.
I love that system.
And then they went to the 1-bye system and added a team per conference. That's why I ask. I mean, 10 years ago, I would have been like, oh, everything's perfect. Then they added playoff teams.
Well, you can't go back now.
No, they're not going back.
But I liked the format of the top 2 seeds in both conferences got
Getting the
buys.
bye. I agree.
The 2 seed used to be a huge thing to get.
I know. Now it's like you have this amazing year. You're the number 2 team in the conference. No bye. Number 2, like that's a good year.
Now, the number 2 seed has only lost one time. That was last year. The Packers beating the Cowboys.
Right.
But majority of those games have
They're
all
gonna
been
win.
blowouts.
Yeah. Good point. All right, Chris Hodge taking Vegas. He's going to make some free picks for us coming up on the other side. He's been red hot. He'll join us next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Lowe's. We'll start with the Padres. Good news today for the Padres. They come to agreement on a one-year deal with Michael King, avoiding arbitration. They also have an option for the 2026 season. San Diego State takes on Wyoming tomorrow night, 5 p.m. tip time, 4 p.m. pregame. You can listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. Download the Lowe's app to get their home improvement playbook in your hands so you can get their team's expertise anytime.
All right, so we're still a week out from the Super Bowl, but it is great to have Chris Hodge back with us on Jon and Jim. I mean, if you've been listening routinely to our weekly conversations with Chris Hodge taking Vegas, you know how red hot he's been. 13-3 over his last 16 plays on the text line. Then he gave out the free picks last week. He goes 2-0, and he's 23-10 with the free picks he's given out on the show over the last 16 shows he's joined us. So he's been red hot, and Chris Hodge, it's very good. It's very good. And he's back with us right now on Jon and Jim. And you're going to go NBA tonight, right? You're going to have a text line play in the NBA tonight. And Chris, thanks for hopping on.
Always thank you for having me. Last week, when we came on, we gave out an NBA play. It was on Golden State. Oddly enough, Golden State is playing tonight. Playing Phoenix. Interesting game there. Phoenix -1.5 on the road. Golden State trying to figure some things out, as is Phoenix. They got the whole Bradley Beal situation going on. So if you text the word win to the number 545454, not only will you receive this play tonight in the NBA, tomorrow automatically you'll receive our big college basketball play. We did the same thing last week. Everyone got Missouri. They got the job done last Saturday. So we're cleaning up right now. If you want the 2 free picks, one tonight, one tomorrow, just text the word win to the number 545454.
Yeah, you guys are absolutely on a roll right now. You are hot. Let's go. Let's talk about some picks here to give to our listeners, Chris. We'll dip into the college world because obviously there's no NFL this weekend. So we'll start with Kansas and Baylor. What do we got on that one?
Odd game. When the line first opened a few hours ago, Kansas was the favorite. And then there was some heavy movement, and now Baylor is the favorite. But I think that's the wrong movement. Baylor's a good team. Kansas is a good team. Both are playing well, then both struggle. Like, you can't get a feel for both teams in terms of that conference right now. But the one thing that holds true in all of sports is defense travels. And Kansas is a much better defensive team than Baylor. They're both going to score. They both have the potential to score points. They have the talent to score points. But when Kansas has to really settle in and get a stop, they are better at doing that than Baylor is. Than Baylor is. Their defensive efficiency is at 91 points per 100 possessions, and Baylor is 10 points worse than that. So when Kansas has the opportunity to get a stop and need a stop, I feel like they're going to get it in the game. They also have a pretty decent height advantage over Baylor in this game. So I think it's going to be tight as the game goes along. Get into the last 10 minutes of the game, the better team, the better defense pulls away. And I think Kansas right now should be around +1. I think they get the job done.
All right, so Kansas plus the 1 point. Again, if you want tonight's NBA action, Phoenix and Golden State, just text the word win, W-I-N, to 545454. Chris Hodge back with us here on Jon and Jim. As good of a year as it's been in the Big 12, it's been probably a better year in the SEC. And there's another SEC game this weekend. They're all huge. Florida and Tennessee, a couple of top teams in the country. What's your opinion here with Florida and Tennessee this weekend?
So these teams played about a month ago, and Florida just destroyed Tennessee. I mean, they killed this team. They beat them by 30, and you would think, okay, coming home on revenge. I don't buy the revenge factor as much in basketball as I do in football. I just think it's obviously two different sports, and just the way the game's set up, I just don't buy the revenge factor. If you look at that game and you broke it down, right, and you watched it, Florida overly didn't play well in that game. Okay, and they beat them by 30. Okay, they only shot 39% from the floor. They only made 6 threes. They got outscored from the free throw line, but where was the advantage? They beat them up in the rebounding department, 56-37. And then you go look at points in the paint, 40-14. And then you go watch the game, and you just, wow, Florida was that much more physical than Tennessee. Other interesting tidbit about this game, Tennessee's lost 3 out of the last 4. The last two games, last Saturday against Auburn, very physical. Then they played Kentucky on Tuesday in a very physical game. They lost both of those. Florida's been off for a week. Florida hasn't played since last Saturday, and that was a cakewalk. They beat Georgia by 100 in that game. So it's not going to be a 30-point game. Don't get me wrong. I just don't believe Tennessee is 5 points better than than Florida. The line is -4. They're not winning the game by 5 if they win the game at all. So I think this is a really good opportunity to get Florida not only plus the points, but on the money line as well, because they are physically better. They're deeper. They're older. And I just think it's going to be a bad spot for Tennessee. I think they're banged up right now. So you can get them at +4, +160. I think that's a really good opportunity to jump on Florida in this game.
All right, Florida plus the points against Tennessee. Again, if you want tonight, NBA, Phoenix Golden State, text WIN. This is free. Recorded line, text WIN to 545454. Now, you gave us a great story last week about basically customers being limited because of how hot you've been with your plays, right? Is that still playing out over the course of the last week or two?
Every one of these texts gets more ridiculous as the days go on. The things that my customers are hearing from sports books, and again, this is all documented. I have the text message, and I look at them. I send these things to my wife. I'm like, can you believe this nonsense? It is absolutely insane. And why it happens, I'm going to tell you why it happens. It doesn't happen for a person like me because I'm pretty consistent with what I bet. But when a customer calls up and they're like, hey, I want to try this, and they really haven't bet before, and they're betting between 500 to 1,000, then all of a sudden 2 or 3 or 4 game win, they're like, oh, I want to put 5,000 on this game. Now the sports book starts looking at it like, okay, what's this guy doing? And the way we're winning in college basketball right now, I remember I said this 2 months ago. I said we were off to the best start that we ever had gotten off to in college basketball. I said that on your show, and that hasn't stopped. This has been by far the best college basketball season that we have ever had. So people are making money. Last week, Saturday, we hit Missouri. We got another big game going tomorrow. So if you text the word WIN to the number 545454, you get the NBA play tonight, and you'll get that big play in college basketball tomorrow.
And before we let you go here, Chris, you've talked about this before on our show, but for anybody out there that is just dying to do parlays, what would you tell them?
Yeah, don't. Go do something else. Go burn the money. I mean, at least you have some fun at it. Like, you can't win. You know, the parlay game is just, it's impossible. And you know, I've been on these radio stations for a long, long time. You know what else is hard too? The prop bets. The prop bets are very hard as well. And these are all things that are designed by the sports books to get the guy that's betting between 50 to 100 a game to always lose. That's where they make 85% of their money, parlay bets. So if you were doing anything in life, right? If I saw, okay, this guy's making 85% of his money taking parlay bets, why would I ever bet a parlay? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. We try to teach these people, hey, just bet straight up, bet with patience, strategy, discipline. You can have success. But if you do it any other way, don't even bother, because you're going to lose. I'm in the business, and I'm here to tell you, if you do it any other way, you're going to lose. So we don't want to see anyone, lose their money. They work hard for it. We want to try to help them win as best as we can.
With all that being said, when you join us next week before the Super Bowl, like, will you have any props for because it's the Super Bowl? Like, what do you say when it comes to the Super Bowl?
Props.
Yeah, because it's just kind of fun. Of course, there's a lot of money to be made, but like, do you have any plays there typically when it comes to a Super Bowl just for fun, or how do you feel about Super Bowl props?
I mean, that's a good way to put me on the spot right there, but I'll answer the question. It's all right. No, we will have a couple. Yeah. Look, it's a Super Bowl. It's a different game all into itself. There are some interesting prop bets there, and there's some that you might be able to take advantage of. And look, it's like anything. If you do it in moderation, it's not bad. So,
sure.
If you have one game and you give out some prop bets, that's fine. I'm talking about the guys that bet prop bets every single Sunday on every single game, and they do all of these, same game parlays and all this nonsense that these sports books offer. That's where you get in trouble. But I do believe there are going to be some very good prop bets. But hey, look, I'm going to tell you right now, and there's no secret to this. I'm using Kansas City next week. Okay. I used Kansas City all 4 games last year in the playoffs. I used them in the playoffs this year twice. Now, that safety at the end of the Houston game, depending on where you got the line, you either won, lost, or pushed. Okay, granted. But until someone slays this dragon, I am not betting against them. So I'm telling you right now, the whole company is going to be on Kansas City. You don't need to call for that game. Giving it out completely free. We've already betted ourselves. So, yeah, I'm not going against them. I think they're going to be the first team to 3-peat.
which is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, so Chris Hodge has been red hot. 13.
By the way, can I just say one thing?
Of
Okay,
course.
because I've been in a fight with the guys in my office. Now we were on Kansas City last week, right? They got the calls in that game again, right? Like I got guys in my office be like, "No, that was a fairly ref game." I'm like, "What on earth are you talking about?" The guy got the first down. The guy didn't catch the ball. Like, what is going on? They got the calls again last week.
Yeah, that was a first down.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they gave Kansas City the catch there at the 2-yard line. Those two did not make sense to me at all. I don't put it on the sole reason why the Bills lost that game, but perception becomes reality a lot of times. And again, when Kansas City gets a couple more calls their
Good
way,
teams become even better because they're getting calls. So Chris has been red hot, 13-3 over his last 16 text releases. He's got one for you right now tonight. Phoenix and Golden State. All you have to do, this is absolutely free. Just text win to 545454. You'll get tonight's game. You'll get a college game tomorrow. Again, text win to 545454. Chris, appreciate it. Let's do it again next week. Super Bowl Sunday's here.
All right, guys. Thank you for having me. Have a great weekend to everyone out there.
All right, great stuff. Chris Hodge, who's been so loyal to our listeners over the years here on San Diego Sports 760. What do you got? Anything?
Nothing.
Okay. We have Creed tickets to give away. So we have Creed tickets to give away. All you need to do is call 877-767-4760. This is 2 free tickets to see Creed Wednesday, August 6th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. Here's how it works. First 2 callers are contestants. All right. First 2 callers to 877-767-4760 are contestants. And then one of you is winning trivia today. We call it Trainwreck Radio. First 2 callers will be our contestants. One of you is winning 2 free tickets to see Creed. All you have to do is call 877-767-4760. That's next on Jon and Jim. right, again, a reminder, download the all-new iHeartRadio app, and when you do that, then search for San Diego Sports 760 and Jon and Jim. Put it in your presets. We'll be with you at your convenience. Whether it's live radio, just have San Diego Sports 760 in your presets. If you're looking for any of our podcasts, any hour, any interview, put us in your presets. Jon and Jim, we're there for you day and night, anytime, in your car, on a jog. What else do people do?
Work out.
People work out, right?
They like to.
Do you work out?
Yeah, why?
You were surprised how I asked it?
Yeah.
Because like when and where and how often?
I will admit.
It's been a while.
Might have been a minute or two.
Okay. No, but I never could tell with someone like you. You're basically always the same looking person.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to put on 20 or lose 20. I've never seen you.
But I'm not in shape. I could tell you that.
Well, sure. You're not going to run a half marathon this weekend.
No.
Yeah. When you do work out, you do what? You go to like a LA Fitness and go 3 times a week and run for 20 minutes and lift for 45 minutes? Something like
Crunch
that?
Gym.
Yeah, Crunch.
Yeah. So I got the little thing on my reserve.
Yeah, like on your key fob.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not as much as I should be going, or not as much as I used to go.
Okay.
It's just, I don't know.
It's kind of like annoying.
A little bit. And you're like, I have to drive 20 minutes.
Oh, is that how far it is?
Yeah.
That's far, dude.
So I'm like,
yeah,
dude,
it's 20 minutes.
That's a ways away. There's a gym right down our street that me and Aaron have gone to that we're probably going to become members of.
Okay.
And it's a 2-minute walk. So
yeah, it's probably.
But it's not like one of those commercial gyms, like a 24-hour.
It's just like Crunch. A small.
Yeah, it's a small gym in IB.
Okay.
You work out like all the time.
Yeah, I know, but it like does.
I can't tell.
That's the problem. That's what I was gonna say. I mean, I go to Orange Theory. So is that?
It's not even working. That's not working out,
dude. Yes, it is.
You text me. You text me every morning after you get done with Orange Theory.
Yeah,
and you look the same.
Correct.
So what are you working out?
I don't know, dude. I just do what they tell me to do.
Are you working on? Are you becoming stronger?
Half of it's weights, half of it's treadmill. Sometimes there's rowing.
So you're theoretically getting stronger?
I don't know. I'm just doing it.
Are you losing weight?
No. I mean,
are you
I'm not doing anything.
No. Are you getting toned?
No.
Then why do you do it?
I know, and I've done it for 2 years. I don't know.
You've done it for
it's
2
good for
years?
Me. I've been going since August of 2022.
You should be jacked.
I should be so jacked. You're right.
What's wrong with you?
I should be like the Baywatch dude, like running down the saving people in the ocean.
It's almost like the lack of protein in your diet is like
that's a good
keeping
point.
you from building muscle.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
All that tofu is not really helping you.
I don't eat. I don't.
I
don't know.
Eat some meat. Be a man.
I don't know. Am I a perfect endorsement for
eat a chicken breast every once in a while?
Drink a protein shake.
I do sometimes.
So you don't drink protein shakes. Sometimes means not a lot.
Let's play.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Josh and Dan. Josh, you called in first. You have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
I'm going to go with Jon today.
All right, Josh and Jon.
Josh and Jon, Dan and Jim. Dan, you there?
I am here.
All right, perfect. I'm your partner, buddy. Brett, what's the question today?
All right, guys, we talked a little bit earlier. We had to explain what the Royal Rumble was to Jon.
Oh, no.
Today's question, only 10 people have won more than one Royal Rumble. Today's question, name any of those 10 people who have won multiple Royal Rumbles.
So Josh picking Jon today was not a great idea.
Might have been a backfire.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I have ideas.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Probably not right.
There's big names on the list, so even Jon could pull one out of his backside.
All right, Dan, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline, which is an easy layup if you want to use it.
I'll say Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan on the list.
Boom.
There we go. Josh, you're up. What's your first guess? You do have Jon, which is a wrestling aficionado over here, as your lifeline. What do you got?
I'm going to go with The Rock.
The Rock.
The Rock.
Multiple Royal Rumbles?
Oh, no.
Dan,
good guess, though.
Back to you. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I'm going to use a lifeline. I know wrestling, but it's real wrestling and not the fake wrestling.
Oh,
Got
so
it.
you know like
Oh.
what? You know like Olympic or like college wrestling?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know Olympic and collegiate and even high school. But
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
Okay, I got you. Don't worry. The only member to ever win 3 Royal Rumbles in his career, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Say yes.
oh yeah, big time.
There we go.
What was his like saying?
Know your role and shut your mouth.
That's The Rock. He's stupid.
Oh,
It's,
Oh, no, it's right.
Yeah,
That's the
it's
bottom
saying.
line.
That's the
Because
bottom
Stone Cold
line.
said so.
Because
Thank
Stone
you.
Cold said so.
Thank you.
I'm an idiot.
You really are.
Josh, you're up. You got to get this to stay in the game. You do have John, which is your lifeline. So what do you got?
I'm gonna have to use a lifeline.
Thank you.
Rey Mysterio. No, I don't know. I saw him.
You saw him on the
Well, he was on the list of people that are participating this weekend.
Okay. Rey Mysterio. Do you take that?
I'm gonna say no.
Then you have to.
Okay, who
choose
do you
somebody.
take?
Who do I have? I'm gonna go with. Let's go with. How about the Undertaker?
Undertaker.
No, is it over?
It's over.
Is Rey Mysterio on the list?
No, he's only won.
No, he only won
once.
once.
Oh, he did win.
Yeah, 2006. I want to say.
Is LA Knights?
No.
He hasn't been around long enough.
Okay. Who's on this list? I need this list like I need nothing.
All right, like Jim said, Stone Cold Steve Austin's won 3 of them, and then everyone else has only won 2. Hulk Hogan's won 2, Shawn Michaels won 2, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, Batista, John Cena, Randy Orton, Edge, and Cody Rhodes.
How could you not get this one right?
Did I get it wrong? I did.
You did get it.
And
wrong.
you got it right?
Yeah.
Would you have been able to name like 8 of those?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Brent, would you have known that without seeing a list?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know. All right. I guess I'm not a sports guy. Like, again, it's like, that's a lot to know. Seriously, about WWF, because it's like, how would you know that?
WWE.
The same way you know like Super Bowl stuff,
Yeah.
because every year at the
Yeah.
Rumble they hammer you with pre-produced
Right.
packages about how X amount of people have won from the number 27 slot, and this guy's won.
Gotcha. No, that's true.
He's had the more. Kane's got the most eliminations ever. He doesn't anymore, but you know what I mean. They hammer it in your head just like they hammer in who's won the most Super Bowls
Right.
and MVPs and everything else.
Like, you know how Hartman knows everything about the Heisman?
Did you think Hartman knows that because he has
No.
it memorized? He doesn't.
But that's the same thing for some people that are
Where-
wrestling fans.
We should have Hartman on.
Okay, we can have him on next week when you're not here.
Honestly, you should.
Probably.
You should have him on for the entire show.
He'll fill up a couple.
He'll fill up the whole day. Just bring him in. Just say, Steve, you want to come to San Diego and do a week with me?
Like Steve,
you won't even have to do anything.
Steve, we got an extra hour to fill.
Yeah, he'll be great. I wish the show was 6 hours long.
John and Steve. Steve,
Yeah.
take it away.
Yeah, he would just, Jim, it's so funny you bring up Joe Montana. And then boom, whole show's filled. Right?
it would be-
Especially
yeah.
Super Bowl week.
He is.
When I worked for the Raiders,
Right.
I remember a Super Bowl in New Orleans.
When you need somebody to fill,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
he's the best.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Steve rules.
It's unbelievable. I agree. All right. On the other side, Padres avoid arbitration with Michael King. What does it mean beyond 2025 as well for King and the Padres? The latest on that at 5:30. Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network. We look ahead towards the Super Bowl, offseason coaching hires as well. It's hour 4 of Jon and Jim next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Lowe's. We'll start with Padres news of the day. Some good news. They've avoided arbitration with Michael King, signing him to a 1-year deal with an option for the 2026 season. And San Diego State takes on Wyoming tomorrow night, 5 p.m. tip, 4 p.m. pregame right here on San Diego Sports 760. Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right call when you have the right team. Download the Lowe's app to get their home improvement playbook in your hands so you can get their team's expertise anytime.
Previously on Jon and Jim.
Over under a half game that I attend this year.
I mean, that's such an easy bet. You're not going to go Saturday. Oh, Aaron's got a friend in town. We're going to go pick tulips from the Tulip Center. There's going to be like 2 midweek games. You're like, nah, I can't go. I got to pick up dinner. And then there's like 2 weekend games. You're like, no, I can't go. Aaron's friend's in town.
How about the last game of the year?
Senior night.
San Diego State versus Nevada, 7:30 Saturday night.
You're okay? Are you going to go?
Yeah, March 8th.
All right, we'll remind you.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of Jon and Jim. We are here until 6 p.m. We do have Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network. She'll get us ready for the Super Bowl. I mean, there's a lot of getting ready to do because she'll join us again next week. But I'm sure she'll have some opinions on Eagles-Chiefs, Super Bowl Sunday, second time in 3 years. So she'll join us at 5:30. We're reacting to this Michael King news. It was some good news for an organization that was looking for it, right? All offseason, it's been one thing after the next. Is it the end-all, be-all? No, they didn't announce a 5-year deal for Michael King, but we do believe, based on this deal here today, Jim, there's a very good shot Michael King is pitching for the Padres in 2025. Is he throwing beyond 2025 here? That remains to be seen, but they avoid the arbitration. Arbitration would have been a really bad look. They avoid it. It's a reasonable number, and hopefully he stays, and hopefully he has a year like he did last year for the Padres.
It was a has to happen move.
Right.
Either you avoid arbitration, which would be really good, which they did, or you sign him to an extension, which would be like
amazing.
Boom, mind blown. Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. They got one of those. They avoided arbitration. Preller, I'm not gonna say cooked the books, but he manipulated.
Yeah, they moved some money.
Yeah, moved some money around and made it so his salary for next year, I think it saved like $3 million up front. But King's gonna get paid all that money, so eventually the salary will go up. But on first glance, when you look at it,
yeah, it looks like he's making like $1 million, right?
Right. So let me just pull this up here because somebody. Here we go. Here's the breakdown of Michael King. So total $7.75 million, the 2025 in 2025 with an opt out in 2026. He has a signing bonus of $3 million. In 2025, his salary is $1 million, and the mutual option 2026 for 15, or a $3.75 million buyout. Base in 2016 increases by $50K. For 20 games in 2025, $100K for 25 games in 2025, and $100K for 28 games in 2025. So there's a lot of like incentives thrown in there, and it's a lot of numbers and around. But the main thing is the main thing, which is they don't have to go to arbitration. By no means does this mean that they're like 100% not trading King. I think they won't.
Yeah, I don't think they will.
I don't think they're going to, but it's not a slam dunk.
No, you're right. It's not a. I think it comes down to math. He's going to make, like you just orchestrated, he's going to make 7.75. However you want to like splice it, it's $7.5-8 million, which I think is really reasonable. So you're going to get a really good pitcher at a really good price. That even if you moved him, you better get the best return in the world because you're only freeing up $7 to $8 million. That's not enough like payroll flexibility to make the move make a ton of sense. Now, if you get the greatest return in the world, okay, maybe that's another conversation. But if you're in the business of freeing up money, then Dylan Cease makes a lot more money, like a lot more. 14 million is a lot more than 7.75. Or Luis Ariz makes 14 million. So I think if they're in the business of freeing up money, it's not going to be Michael King. But you do have to consider the return. I mean, if you can get some unbelievable return for Michael King that's better than Dylan Cease, that to me doesn't make sense. Now, he makes less, so maybe the return's a little more. But I think at the end of the day, if one of those two is moving, it would be Cease over King.
I would agree with that. Now, we're team keep both of them because the idea is to win this year, and both of those pitchers on this roster will be infinitely better than if you traded one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were going to move a player to free up money and get a good return back, it's Dylan Cease. He's the only guy on your roster where you could get a decent return back. I don't think they're going to get anywhere close to the Juan Soto trade, where you got Michael King and the top prospect and a bunch of other guys that you could fill out your roster with. But you could get a highly rated prospect and maybe a guy that's major league ready or, close to major league ready. I just think that you could get a good amount for Cease, not the world, but you could get something that could make it a little worthwhile, that could help you on field. Again, I don't want them to trade Cease. I want him here because he gives the team the best chance to win. I think he could have a fantastic season, and that would really help the Padres this year to make back-to-back postseason runs for the first time in, well over a decade, since the mid 2000s and 2005 and 6, I think it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I there's a lot of smoke around Dylan Cease with the Mets, and the Cubs throw their hat in the ring. I just hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think that's said well. I was just looking at what the Padres traded for Cease. So they had 2 years of control for Dylan Cease the day they made that trade, mid-March.
What they
gave up.
Yeah.
And they gave up 3 prospects in Steven Wilson. So a major league reliever in Steven Wilson, Drew Thorpe, a huge prospect, obviously, Jairo Iriarte, and Sammy Zavala. This was what they gave up for 2 years of control.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is, you're not getting that.
No.
Because that was 2 years. Now it's 1 year. So I could argue you're getting roughly half of that.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Because you're going from 2 years to 1 year of control. So maybe you get one major leaguer and one top prospect, or two top 15 type prospects for Dylan Cease. To me, that's probably not enough. I'd rather just hold him, is my point. And when I say hold him, we've had this conversation. I'm just holding him until July. If my team's awesome, he's a big part of my second half. If my team sucks, then he's going. And if my team's in between, then we have the conversations. Hey, they're a game out. Do you go for it? Oh, they're 2 games up. Do you go for it? But we said this yesterday, the risk reward. I think the reward of keeping Dylan Cease is far more significant than the risk of getting rid of him. I'm starting my year with Dylan Cease. If it goes haywire, that's sports. It can happen. Trade him if it goes haywire. Or let's say you're really good. You're 60-48. Now we're adding, and Dylan Cease is a big part of our run in the second half of the year.
I can already envision it now. At the trade deadline, they're like in that middle,
very possible
land.
Oh yeah,
where you don't know if they should sell or if they should buy or if they just stand pat, and then we'll be on the air saying, "What do they do?
Don't want to lose them for nothing."
Kind of the same situation of 2023 when you had 2 guys that could have got you a pretty good haul, and Hader and Snell, and you kept them. And the season went.
That was bad. But we also, the 2023 year, we sniffed it out. We're like, something ain't right. I don't know if we'll feel that way this time. Is something not going to be right if the Padres are 2 games over 500 at the trade deadline? It might feel different in 2025. 2023, it's it's been off all year. But this time around, it might be harder to be good. So, if they're 2 games over 500 at the deadline, I might be like, you know what, push your chips into the middle of the table, because they've hung around. They're a game or 2 out. Where 2 years ago, I'm like, something's off. I mean, it just depends on how they're playing and how we feel. I guess my point is, in 2025, it might come a lot harder to win than it did in 2024. They had the best second half ever. I'm not expecting that to be the case again. Every year, they're not going to have a 40-10 stretch.
You don't believe in second half Schulte? It's a real thing.
If he somehow did it again, if they somehow were really good again in the second half, then maybe I would be. I honestly kind of do believe a little bit in the second half show as we sit here right now.
If they back up a 93 win year with an 89 win year,
and they're really good in the second half to get there, then I do.
Then it will be really hard to ever really criticize, really criticize Mike Schulte.
Yeah,
you'll criticize him for moves, and that's what happens all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
But from the overarching big picture view, 30,000 feet, Mike Schild is a really good manager if he can pull that off.
I think Mike Schild's a good manager.
I think he is too.
I think he's a good manager. I think he proved it. I mean, are we going to be critical of some of the things he says post game? I promise you, yes.
Yes.
It's happening again. Barring them getting off to a first half like they finished the second half. I mean, if they somehow got out of the gates, all this offseason talk, sky is falling. But if they got out of the gates playing well, that would be amazing.
That would serve a lot of people some good.
Like if they were 20-12 out of the gates, be like, oh my gosh, really? After that offseason, they're playing like this out of the gates?
Because with how great last regular season was, the ending was, I mean,
it was tough, man.
It was very tough.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm sure a lot of those guys and people in the front office that were so heavily invested in this year, and the coaching staff probably took a week or two.
Oh yeah.
I just can't. I just can't.
The worst part about it was 2 weeks later, the Dodgers are winning. Like you couldn't get over that in 2 weeks because you're watching the Dodgers win the World Series. So now you need additional time.
Yeah, that's even worse.
So it's like a month of dealing with this, or more.
Mm-hmm. So I like how they got this resolved today with Michael King.
Yeah,
everybody does. Win-win situation. You're not going into FanFest tomorrow with too much anger if you're a fan.
No, I mean,
now this helps. I mean, it doesn't help all, because while this is a problem that they potentially would have had and it's now resolved, it still doesn't address the main thing, which is they have not gotten better as a baseball team.
Yeah, you're right. Profar's not here. Higgy's not here. King was already here, so you haven't added.
Mm-hmm. They've gotten worse on paper.
Yep.
But they haven't gotten better. And so the news today was great. I'm sure all fans were like,
I was a little surprised.
News.
Yeah.
It's still status quo. It's still a roster that has a lot of holes that need to be filled. And there's time. I'm not saying they have to do it tomorrow by 10 a.m. FanFest. But eventually there will have to be moves made, is what we're basically saying here.
Yeah. And I still think with Preller, I still think something sizable in nature is occurring between now and opening day. I just do, whether it's trading off a player like Dylan Cease or making a savvy addition for a player that's under control or arbitration eligible that won't break the bank, so to speak. I just feel it. I think it's how he operates. Now, I also read what Kylie McDaniel wrote today at ESPN.com. The Padres can't really go deep into their system via trade. They don't have a lot of prospects at the high ends, high-end prospects or, in AA or AAA. Like they got two high-end prospects right now, and we know who they are, Ethan Salas and Leo DeVries. So I don't think he can dip really deep into his system right now to go pull off some savvy trade to, boost his big league roster. But I don't know. I'm not betting against AJ Preller doing something of substance between now and opening day. Right? Like, I don't think the big offseason move is Elias Diaz.
I hope not.
I know.
If it's truly minor league invites and Tirso in left field,
No, I mean, I know. Then they better go prove it on field,
Nah. That doesn't change the fact that we're all going to watch and we're all going to talk about this team and cover this team every single day. But it's not as inspiring as it could be coming off a 93-win season. There's not much, inspiration that's, as a fan, you're thinking like they're going to go over that hump. They improved their team. They're a better team than last year. It's a lot of what the heck type of feeling, with also a lot of good talent still on this team.
All right, so Michael King locked up through 2025. What comes next for the Padres? Plus, we're getting you ready for tomorrow at Viejas Arena, San Diego State and Wyoming. At 5:30, Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, as we look ahead to the Super Bowl, which is 9 days away. Plus, Jim's back page here until 6, Jon and Jim. right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances to win $1,000 every weekday with the Grand in Your Hand cash contest. That's every hour, 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Listen for the keyword at the top of every hour, then enter it at sportssd.com. FanFest tomorrow, Aztecs tomorrow against Wyoming. I think FanFest, like most years, is going to be packed, right? I mean, it's a celebration of the season. You got all these popular players back in town. So it should be a really good event tomorrow. I'm sure there's people doing a double dip. FanFest in the morning, Aztecs at 5 p.m., WrestleMania. Tomorrow night, Jim's birthday celebrations tomorrow night. If you want to swing by, that'd be weird.
Little weird.
You're going to maybe be at FanFest?
TBD.
Okay. We'll know based on you tweeting from FanFest, maybe.
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
You will know tomorrow morning. What was I going to say? Regarding how many fans are going to show up to FanFest tomorrow?
Yeah.
Look, the people we talk to, the Padres fans we talk to, like, yes, we talk to, thousands of people that watch the show and listen to the show and whatnot. There's tens of thousands of Padres fans that only just care about, hey, Petco Park is awesome and Jackson Merrill's great.
Tatis.
My kid loves Manny and Tatis.
Yep. I get that.
And they're not up to date on all of the drama behind the scenes,
the legal filings,
or the offseason transactions or non-transactions. They just know, like, hey, Jackson Merrill is a really fun player. I love Tatis, love Manny. And that's great. That is perfectly fine. I'm not trying to say that's bad or anything. I'm just saying, if you're a fan out there that thinks no one's going to show up tomorrow.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that.
Like,
there's not going to be anyone there. It's been the worst offseason. Like, no. It's a free event. We live in sunny San Diego. It's an amazing ballpark. It's free. You got Fernando Tatis Jr. or Manny Machado or whomever there. It should be a really good event. It really should, and hopefully gets people excited for spring training and opening day. But I mean, FanFest, they've done it well. I mean, some of these crowds. What was the year where they introduced the Big Four? 2 years ago. I mean, that was insanity, right?
Ridiculous. It was actually, I remembered it was rained out last year. Remember that?
They didn't have it because the weather was that bad on the day. They canceled it a couple days before. I don't fully remember that. The weather. Yeah, I remember all the rain last year.
So we talk about how awful and bad this offseason was this year at this point in time. Last year's, like I've said, if you just look on paper, it was worse. Lost Peter, traded Juan, FanFest rained out.
Good point. No behind the scenes lawsuit, but that's a really good point.
Yeah.
We weren't feeling great about it. I'd forgotten that it was actually rained out.
No seats at the time, no Arise at the time.
Yeah,
no left fielder at the time.
I think everything, you got to remember, it's about perspective. Not once all offseason, despite the fact that it's been a bad offseason, have we been it's going to be a bad season. You have to be careful to correlate an offseason with a season.
Right.
You can call it a bad offseason. Nobody's saying they're going to go 59 and 103. That's not been our purpose of the conversation. Our purpose has been, hey, they got really close, go put it over the top, and they haven't done that. That's the main point we've made is they were close. It felt like they were about to get over a hump, go push through and get over the hump, but they're not doing that.
Yeah. I not once have said or even had a thought of this team winning 75 games.
Yeah, nobody's like, this team's bad. Have we ever come on here and be like, this team's bad? No.
I said this team is going to be, at this moment in time, it feels like this team is going to be worse than last year's team. But if worse than last year's team is 85 wins, that still could sneak you in a postseason. It still could get you a spot.
Good.
But that shouldn't be the goal, is what we're trying to say, is that when you win 93 and it feels like you're close and you have this core together and you're not going to have Cease and King and Arise all together after this year, wouldn't that put the pressure on and be that, have that much more emphasis on going for it now? It would push you a little bit harder. Be like, hey, 2026 might be a little rough. I get it, because we're not going to have these guys on this roster and they're only on 1-year contracts and yada, yada, yada. So let's push for this year now. And they've done that and they failed. But I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. I think that's the main point of the offseason, is that it's not that they're supposed to be bad. It's that can they break through? And it just seems like it's going to be harder to break through. But again, it's an off season. And when we had Dan Szymborski on, and he wrote about this too, the Dodgers, even heading into next year with everything they've done, it's not like it's a 99% chance they win the division, even though it does feel like that. Like, how shocked would I be if the Dodgers didn't win the division? I'd be shocked. Yes. And that's not just tied to San Diego. I mean, Arizona might have a good year, or maybe San Francisco improves by 5 or 7 games. But it just feels like honestly, it feels like for the foreseeable future, there's no one winning this division other than Los Angeles. I mean, 11 of 12 years they've won it. And they've only added to their roster here recently. So like we joked about earlier in the offseason, when is the next year Los Angeles doesn't make the postseason?
Well, yeah, that's going to be a long time from now.
I mean, it could be forever.
And if you make the postseason next year, if you're the Padres, that's 3 out of 4 years. That's really good.
And 4 out of 6?
Yeah, that's a really good run that you will be going on. And that's why it's just so important to make sure, I feel like, and you feel like, to
get in, to get better.
Not only get in, but continue to operate at a level of, we're going to do everything we can to keep this core together and add to it.
I agree with you. Cynthia Freeland's going to join us on the other side. She'll get us ready for next weekend, Super Bowl Sunday, Super Bowl 59, plus comment on some of the offseason coaching hires as well. Cynthia Freeland, friend of the show. She joins us weekly from the NFL Network, and she'll join us next on Jon and Jim. All right, we lost Jim, so I'm here for the update. Aztecs tomorrow night, 5 o'clock, San Diego State, Wyoming, Viejas Arena. First of 2 regular season meetings. Pregame coverage will begin at 4 p.m. And the Padres avoided arbitration today with starting pitcher Michael King agreeing on a 1-year, $7.75 million deal with a mutual option for 2026. Who needs Jim?
I'm sorry.
Who needs Jim? All right, that's our update.
That report is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. Download the Lowe's app to get their home improvement playbook in your hands so you can get their team's expertise anytime.
Always great to connect. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network. We're 9 days out from Super Bowl Sunday, which means everyone's attention, of course, is
Pro Bowl.
On the Pro Bowl, where Cynthia is, I believe, currently at, right? In Orlando. I saw your tweet.
So I'm in Orlando. There are screaming children. That's how you know you're in Orlando.
Perfect.
Yes.
That is. So this is your first ever Pro Bowl experience. What's it going to be like to cover the Pro Bowl? Like, what are you most looking forward to seeing this weekend?
I'm going to sound a little cheesy here, but honestly, the ability to watch the families share the experience with their kids and with their, both their parents and their kids are all here. It's just really cute, like very sweet, and everyone's having so much fun. It's very chill, very chill.
And, now going to the flag football format of this whole thing. Sell me on this, Cynthia. Tell me why I should watch this Sunday, the Pro Bowl.
Because it's just joy. It's like kids having fun playing games. And these aren't just like any kids. These are the kids who are the most talented kids possible. So you're going to see a lot of tricks, a lot of silliness. And, it's just, sometimes you have to remember that like half of football is just having fun, right? And this is just unadulterated fun. These are the best of the best, just enjoying the experience.
All right, Pro Bowl games this weekend in Orlando. Cynthia Freeland with us right now from the NFL Network. All right, so we're through championship weekend. Did anything surprise you based on what you saw? Philadelphia, Washington, Buffalo, Kansas City. Any surprise for you after watching football this past Sunday?
I guess I was a little surprised with, everybody knows Saquon Barkley's coming, and yet there wasn't really a solution. So, I was a little surprised with that. I expected a little bit more on that kind of front. However, maybe I wasn't surprised because you knew he was going to be special and he'd get even more special in the playoffs. So I don't know. And I guess maybe I'm the only person around that was like, I felt like the Chiefs were going to win. Like it was in my gut. It was in my math. All of those things were aligned.
Well, it also, says to everybody, stop betting against the Chiefs. It's just, right. It's not a smart thing to bet against the Chiefs because they just never lose. And going to that game, the Bills, it felt like they got a little conservative and that they stopped feeding James Cook when he was one of the best offensive players on their team. How did you feel about the Bills' game plan in that game against the Chiefs as that game went along?
There's always those people who are like the boogeyman, right? The kryptonite to the Superman. And this feels like the boogeyman for Josh Allen in the playoffs. And I do give a lot of credit to Steve Spagnuolo because being able to come up with something that creates havoc for Josh Allen year in and year out in the playoffs is very hard to do. But I just felt like there was kind of one step, the confidence, the kind of whatever it is that you saw from Josh Allen all season long. You just felt like it wasn't like it was like 97%, not 100%. And that 3 percentage points difference was the difference in the game.
It's interesting. Well, when you fast forward here to Super Bowl Sunday and Super Bowl 59, how do you, like you said, everyone knows Saquon Barkley is the game plan. The running game for Philadelphia is the game plan. Chiefs allowed 150 or so yards on the ground. Like, will they have an effective game plan to slow down the Eagles' running attack?
Well, the funny part is they're going to have to decide what's the trade-off, because the 3 areas that kind of flash in terms of the stats are Saquon. Obviously, he can run inside the tackles, but he's also great outside the tackles where he can get like that full head of steam and be running really fast before any contact even happens. Well, then you have outside of the numbers passes to AJ Brown. That's a problem. And then if you're going to stop both of those things, sorry, but Dallas Goedert's just going to give you some problems inside as well. So I'm not sure which poison Steve Spagnuolo is going to pick, but I do know that you got to give him the benefit of the doubt for figuring out a game plan that will at least give them the best opportunity to win. And it's probably not something like all the stats will be like, well, in most games this year, they did X, Y, or Z. But in this particular game, they completely went contrarian to their tendencies.
Yeah, that's a good point there. The whole narrative on Patrick Mahomes, if they win this Super Bowl, obviously the three-peat, he will be the greatest of all time. It's kind of hard to argue against that, right, Cynthia? I mean, he's been in the AFC title game 7 straight seasons. This is now his, 5th Super Bowl. He's about to potentially win his 3rd straight. Never been done in NFL history. It's hard to put into words what he has done, but the context here is, it's hard to argue it.
It's hard to argue it and then look at his age and realize that the stats are already so stacked in his favor. And then he still has so many more potential years to play. So that's where I get even more kind of what are we even looking at here? It's wild because Patrick Mahomes he's not even close to the end, right? And he's already doing things that are reaching, if he gets another Super Bowl MVP, he'll have the 2nd most in NFL history. He has 3 right now. It'll be 4. Just 4, no big deal.
Yeah.
Tom Brady has 5, right? And that's the leader.
So Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, with us right now on Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. I mean, what slows this train if they do win it? I mean, and they're probably going to win it the same way they always do. It's going to be by 3 points, right? It's not going to be a 30-point win.
No,
but now they're going to enter 2025 as the favorite again. What is there out there that can slow this moving forward? Because isn't everyone going to say, well, if they win 3 straight, aren't they just going to win 4 straight?
I mean, I will say the offensive line, especially the left side of the O-line, has been a cause of concern, and it's unsustainable. Maybe in a small sample size of just a couple games in the postseason, there are enough tricks Andy Reid can figure out and enough magic in Mahomes' legs to be able to out-scramble that. But at the end of the day, it's not sustainable to not have your O-line be fortified for very long and continue winning. I don't care who you are.
When you look at Saquon Barkley's season, same thing that Patrick Mahomes. It feels like it's hard to put into words. Do you feel like this is the best, I guess, season from a running back that in recent memory that you could think of?
I mean, it's hard because in seasons past, right now, or at least in the modern NFL, it's such a pass-heavy league. The fact that we have this running back doing these things that are so incredible and getting all these yards and these yards after contact and being so helpful, especially on 1st and 2nd down. The problem is in the past, it was such a run-happy league. So now you're having best versus best. Now you have fewer people doing this thing. So perhaps our kind of the comparison of what we see versus other running backs is kind of, our eye is tuned a little bit differently. So while I really think Saquon's special, don't get me wrong, I'm taking nothing away from him. I also don't want to take away from Marshall Faulk or some of these other guys who in history have done just incredible things.
Would you expect an inherent drop-off based on usage next year for Saquon Barkley? Are these numbers just inherently not going to be as good because of his usage rate this year?
I'm not worried about his usage as much as I am about O-lines, right? If they can keep their O-line this great, I mean, this is the most yards before contact he's been afforded in his career.
Right.
And look what happened, right? So to me, O-lines are a very, very huge factor in this. So as long as the O-line stays strong and stout the way that we've seen it, then I don't think there'll be much of a drop-off. Perhaps they'll do some things differently. For example, we know they run so much all the time, but specifically on 1st and 2nd down. Maybe they'll, do it mostly on 1st down and on a second, whatever. They'll have kind of different tendencies, but I don't think that the value will drop off.
Cynthia, do you think Jalen Hurts isn't getting enough credit for all the success that the Eagles have had with him as quarterback?
I mean, to be fair, when you're playing in Super Bowls against Patrick Mahomes, everyone's going to look not as, sparkly, not as gold, not as great, right? So, and he's only had 2 and whatever. I feel like he does get a lot of credit, but maybe that's because I'm a person who appreciates like the stats of things as opposed to like narratives and media as much. But,
right.
I certainly think he's very, very valuable. Like what he does, it's the tandem, right? The tandem of him and the running back that makes a huge difference.
Andy Reid. I mean, it's amazing that it wasn't that long ago. The knock on Andy Reid was he can't win big games. I mean, they had the 4 straight championship games in Philadelphia. They lost that one Super Bowl. I mean, all of a sudden you look up, and again, if he does what Patrick Mahomes does on Sunday, I guess he's basically already solidified, right? I mean, Andy Reid, if he ended his career today and didn't win the Super Bowl this year, what is he, a top 2, top 3 coach in the history of the league?
Absolutely. Yes. Like it's him, Belichick. There's just very few. Parcells, like it's right up there. And the trees matter, and who they train matter, and where things come from matter. All of that stuff does. But I think he's already up there.
All right, Cynthia, we'll catch up with you next week. We'll get your official predictions on Super Bowl.
We'll break
Sunday.
it all down next week,
and
Cynthia.
it's actually going to be Jim because I'm going away.
John saw it.
I go away for the Super
fun.
Bowl. To,
Great.
Yeah, next year I'll be around for the Super Bowl, maybe.
Well, I have one thing I'll leave you with here.
Yeah. Okay.
The Saquon note that we went, right? We know Saquon's like crushing it in every major metric.
Yeah.
But the one area that isn't being talked about enough, in my opinion, is how good the Chiefs' defense is at not missing tackles. They have the lowest missed tackle rate in the NFL. It's just over 10%. Next closest team is like 5 percentage points difference, which doesn't sound like a lot, but is, because remember, over the course of the season, that is quite a few plays. So just something to leave you with. It's a tease. It's a deep tease.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Deep tease to a full breakdown next week.
All right.
Love it.
Cynthia Freeland will be back with us next week as we get you ready for Super Bowl 59. Enjoy Orlando. Tell Mickey we said hi, and we'll catch up next week.
Oh boy.
Bye.
Bye, Cynthia.
Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network in Orlando for the Pro Bowl games. That's all yeah, Pro Bowl games.
If you're there, I can understand how it'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you work for the NFL Network and you have access, Orlando's fun.
Remember, what was it? I think 2 years ago, me and Aaron went out to a bar during Pro Bowl week, and the game was on at the bar.
Yeah.
And we watched it, and it did look like they were having fun. It's not something I'm going to carve out of my day to go watch, but if it's on TV, I'm not going to discredit it. It'll be there.
That's a good ringing endorsement.
I don't know, dude. That's all I got.
Yeah, but is them having fun translate to the viewers having fun watching it?
Maybe.
If you're there, it could be fun, right?
I just feel like every time I watch it, it's like raining. Isn't Orlando gets a lot of rain? It's like sunny, then rain.
Yeah, but is it going to be indoors or outdoors?
No, it's outside. It's outside. Yeah, Camping World Stadium. All right, Jim's back page coming up next. All right, Jon and Jim, final time here this week. Next week, we'll get you ready for Super Bowl Sunday, then spring training. So we're into February, heading towards the Selection Sunday. Hopefully San Diego State remains in that conversation as well. And again, join us tomorrow night, 5 o'clock start, Aztecs, Wyoming Cowboys. Pre-game coverage at 4, tip-off at 5. I just saw an article real quick here, Jim, from Bryce Miller, that Ted Leitner, 30th year calling Aztec men's basketball, will be honored tomorrow night at Viejas Arena. This is his final year calling Aztec basketball games. Of course, I mean, think about Ted. He's done Chargers. He's done Clippers. He's done Aztecs football. He's done Aztecs basketball.
Padres.
Oh, yeah.
Bury the lead.
Bury the lead. 40 years with the Padres.
Ted mentioned it on the broadcast last week.
He mentioned it last week on the broadcast. Okay, so they will honor him tomorrow at Viejas.
And I knew because I had to send them a bunch of highlights.
Okay, good. I was going to ask you if you did that, by the way.
Yeah,
Thank you for doing that. So, yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, Ted's career in San Diego is basically unmatched, right? I mean, Ted's broadcasting career in San Diego. I mean,
he's the voice of San Diego sports.
Yeah.
Like when you think of San Diego sports the last 40 years, it's Ted Leitner.
Yeah, even more. I mean, he's been on the air more than 40 years in San Diego. Really incredible. So he'll be honored if you're out there tomorrow. And, of course, you can hear his call right here on San Diego Sports 760. And right now, let's get to this.
Do you want to hear the average per night rates for next Saturday and Sunday and Monday in New Orleans for the Super Bowl?
109. No, I'm kidding. $109.
$100
an hour.
$699.
$699
hotel.
That's it.
Hotel
room.
That's a lot of money.
That's it.
It's Super Bowl weekend. I'll go 1,000.
1,000?
But there's like laws on gouging. I'll go. I think under $699. Like I'll say $499.
Okay. 2-star hotels, $847.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, see.
3-star hotels, $1,500. 4 and 5-star hotels,
crazy,
$4,600.
Yeah, see.
I'd
thought
say
I was
like
going low.
Baton Rouge.
Yeah, dude. That is.
Dude, I'd stay in the Bayou for $15.
I'd stay on the street.
Oh, I imagine Airbnbs.
Not cheap.
Not cheap. It's almost like not worth it to go anymore unless you get stuff paid for by sponsors.
Right. And this is like if you're in LA for like the World Cup or the Olympics, like what are you getting? You're right, for Airbnb. Like if the World Cup was here or the Olympics were here, imagine what you could get to rent out your place.
Right.
Like that's crazy. You can make so much money. I'd leave my place for a week if I could get tens of thousands of dollars for it.
Easily.
Yeah, I'm gone.
No question.
Yeah.
Do you know who Isaiah Stewart
parking?
is? Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
$200 to park here. They're a mile away from the stadium.
Do I know who?
Do you know who Isaiah Stewart is?
Yeah. That guy, right?
Basketball player?
Good job, Brent.
Oh, is he the one that got in all those fights this week?
Yeah, he's he's on the Detroit Pistons. He got recently suspended for elbowing a Dallas Maverick.
Yeah, I saw the play.
He was in the news last year because he's the dude that tried to fight like the entire Lakers team last year.
Right. Okay. That's like a funny meme that I see all the time. Well, it's ironic that he got suspended because the day he got suspended, the games he's going to miss falls on his bobblehead night.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, dude.
He has a bobblehead night?
Yeah.
Is it him like
fighting
punching someone in the face?
I don't know.
Bobble fist?
I don't know what it looks like, but it says the Pistons, Detroit Pistons forward is suspended for Friday's contest against the Mavericks, a game that just happens to involve a giveaway of 5,000 Stewart bobbleheads.
That's funny. That's really
the
funny.
bobbleheads are part of part 2 of a 2-part set, combining him with fellow Detroit big man Jaren Durant.
Oh, it's kind of cool. He's like slamming.
Oh, cool.
His bobblehead's pretty cool. He's like slamming a basketball,
like
which makes sense since he plays
dunking.
basketball. Yeah,
correct. Yeah. So, man, that would suck. Like, remember, what was it, last year when they sat Jake Cronenworth on his bobblehead night? Or was
that was ridiculous.
2023.
Yeah, what was that about?
Scheduled day off.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah,
give him a bats.
Yeah, come on.
Ridiculous. Today at 7-Eleven, John, for Slurpee lovers, 7-Eleven is giving away free small Slurpees today at all participating locations.
Every single one. participants.
It says it's unclear whether the promotion will require the 7-Eleven app or if customers can simply walk in and claim their free drink. Now, I remember this. Not last year, but the previous year when I lived in City Heights.
Right.
We lived right next to a 7-Eleven.
Did you walk in and get one?
I walked in and we got 4 of them.
Is that right?
I got one for me, Aaron, and then our roommates, Mike and Taylor.
Dude, real quick on that. Did I tell you, Kristen got pulled over with Jones for rolling through a stop sign, and Jones was like bawling because he's
recently?
like, just happened last week.
Oh,
Jones thought she was going to go to jail,
no.
and the officer gave her a ticket because he was bawling for a Slurpee.
What?
Like she was gonna, like he was like, I could give you a ticket. You roll through a stop sign, don't do it. But he was all upset. So he had like, there's like a partnership, basically to say like, hey, not all like this isn't bad always. Hey, for your kid, here's a free Slurpee. It was like a 7-Eleven police initiative.
I thought you were gonna say he gave her a ticket because she was drinking a Slurpee.
No. She
driving.
went through the stop sign. He pulled her over. He's like, it's not the end of the world. Oh, your son's upset. Here's a Slurpee. Isn't that weird?
So she never got a ticket?
Can Jones?
No ticket.
Is he allowed to drink Slurpees?
A warning. No, we haven't gotten it, but he was excited to get the like coupon.
Oh, so
isn't that
it pays off to have a crying kid.
or it pays off to like get like pulled over. You end up with a free Slurpee. I can't promise that happens every time.
Because about a month ago, I was driving to work and I have on my dash one of those like
and you started crying.
No, I wish I have one of those iPhone holders.
Yeah,
and I was pulling out of a gas station. I took my phone out.
Oh, you told me this. You got pulled over for using your phone.
I quickly did something with my phone, and I put it on my dash.
He pulled you over for
Immediately pulled over for it. And
saying what? Phone usage?
Yeah. And I told him I'm putting my phone on my dash.
Did you get a ticket?
I did get a ticket.
You did?
Yeah.
How much? You said it wasn't crazy, right?
Well,
or was it?
On the contrary, I paid it the other day. I went online because I tried to do it on my phone and it wouldn't allow me.
You had to pay more because it took you too long?
No. I had until the middle of December.
So how much?
Guess.
I would hope not. I mean, I would guess $80, $90, but again, you could hurt someone if you. So I would say 80 or 90. How much?
I'm going to say $275.
Tickets aren't cheap.
$158.
Yeah, that's in line with what a ticket is, right? I mean,
Yeah,
if it was $20, everyone would do it.
My ticket for alternate side parking I got the one time was like almost $80, so I figured it'd be more than that.
So $158, you could have gotten like a new iPhone.
I couldn't have.
Maybe not.
Or a quarter of a laptop.
Right.
That is true. But that was so stupid. I wasn't actively on the freeway using my phone.
Right, like just staring at it.
I was pulling out of a 7-Eleven. There's no one around me.
Right.
And I took my phone out and put it on the maps and I put it on my dashboard and he said I was using my phone.
Well, you probably won't be doing it
You're
again.
a hardened criminal.
Dude, they should put you in jail.
You and Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, you and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
All right. Good week. Jim's back Monday.
John's not.
If you want the Royal Rumble results, be here Monday at 2 p.m. They'll break them down.
4 hours of Rumble talk.
The latest on the Padres. And of course, we'll get you ready for Super Bowl 59 Monday at 2 p.m. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, and Spotify. Aztec basketball tomorrow at 5 with pregame coverage at 4. We didn't even read the Michael King quote.
It's a funny quote.
You'll do it on Monday.
Yeah.
All right. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Have a great weekend. This is San Diego Sports 760.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.